Good morning. I need y'all to hold on just a minute. I got to eat myself. Okay, sorry about that. We're going to do the little intro and then everything should be good. This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. It's just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free. Hey, y'all. I'm so glad you're here. I can't fix the vertical right now. My phone, everything just decided that it's not going to work for me this morning. It's so good to see y'all. I'm so sorry about scheduling the live yesterday and then missing it. I was so sick. I said I'm going to check my temperature because I was like, if I'm not running a fever, I'm going to go ahead and go live. But I was running a fever. I took NyQuil and was like asleep at like 7:30 last night. Miss Scorpio, I don't know if you're here, but thank you so much for the Cash App. That was super. That was so very super sweet of you, and I really really appreciate it. Hannah, good to see you. Jenny Jane, good to see you. Southern Cats, good to see you. Karen, good to see you. I see you changed your name. It's great to see you. Thank you for being here. CM Wilkins, good to see you. Thank you guys for being here. Um, Botrix is here. Good. I've been trying. Jenny Jim, my love. It's good to see you as well. I have been learning how to use OBS and setting up Kick and all of that. Working on all of that stuff. So that should be ready soon. I think it's good now, but I might switch to OBX from StreamYard. And when I do that, I'm going to post my links to like Kick and my Cash App and all of that if you guys are interested. I was getting harassed, so I changed the name. I'm sorry you were getting harassed, Karen. That's awful. I'm glad that you changed your name though. Alex, good to see you, and Forrest, good to see you. I came live at 1:30 because my hope and plan is to be able to come at live again this evening at about 7:30 to talk about a different case, but I don't want to mix Michael Vaughan's case up with anything else because he deserves all the attention in one live stream. That was another thing. I had come live to tell you guys last time we were live that they were having the preliminary hearing, so you guys could watch that if you wanted to. I felt that was important, but going over the stuff that we have, I didn't want to do it like while I was really not feeling good. And like I said, I went to bed at like 7:30 last night. You're cooking. That's good. I cooked a couple of different things over the weekend that I felt last weekend that was really good. Jenny Jen, I'm feeling better. I'm still not all the way there yet, but I'm doing a lot better. I really appreciate you asking. Okay. Also, I will make a new missing children's video tomorrow. I'm working on a lot of things. I've been schooling myself. Did I? I did. Oh, hit the thumbs up. Yes, please hit the thumbs up. Hey, Rogue Rose, good to see you. Or Rouge Rose. I apologize if I said it wrong. If y'all don't mind, please twinkle, twinkle over to the thumbs up.
Come on, players, stop hating. Stop hating. Start participating. Start participating, Star. Come on, twinkle, twinkle, baby. Twinkle, twinkle.
Twinkle, twinkle, baby. And with that, we're going to go ahead and get into it. So this is the Michael Vaughan case. Michael Vaughan is missing technically. He went missing approximately 5 years ago. So it's been almost 5 years. Everybody for a long time has felt like Stacey Wondra is the one who abducted him. And we find out through the body cam footage that we've gone over before that Clutch Your Pearls had, that they play in this courtroom, that there's a whole story that his girlfriend Sarah abducted Michael to try to sell him, and then he put him in a suitcase, duct taped, vomited, evidently. And they say that Michael Vaughan suffocated. They left him at their roommate Adrian's mother's house, went back, and Stacy said that Michael Vaughan was buried in the backyard. They dug up the whole backyard. At the time, Sarah was living at the house, and so they think that Sarah moved Michael during some point when Stacey was in jail. Kim, good to see you, love. So in court, they gave us the phone call that Stacey made to his mother. We also have the closing arguments, and Brandi gave us some information outside of the courthouse afterwards that I want to go over with you guys and talk to you about. We're learning some new things that we had not seen before in this case, one of them being this phone call. So we're going to go over that first. So this is going to be a phone call from Stacey to his mother right after he admitted to the homicide of Michael Vaughan. Thank you guys for hanging out with me today.
And this is going to be, just for the record, this is Exhibit 14, which has previously been admitted.
He absolutely does, Alex. I wish they would just give Michael to his mama so he could be buried.
Hey, buddy. What's happening?
Hey, Eileen. Good to see you. Let's see if I can fix that vertical now.
Yeah, how'd that go?
It's hard to hear.
Yeah. I'm proud of you for that, babe. I know it wasn't easy. I know it wasn't easy.
Tried to put captions up. It's hard to hear. Make sure y'all can see that.
Sorry.
The first thing I noticed is that he said, I told them everything. And she said, I'm proud of you, baby. I know that wasn't easy. I mean, and I don't blame her for that, but it sounds like she might have known beforehand. And if she knew beforehand, did she tell the police? Would be my first question.
I know you are, babe. I know.
Okay, you can see it. Hey, Ruth. Good to see you. I hope you enjoyed time at your sister's.
Huh? Sweetheart? I know. I know. I know. I know, babe. Were you completely honest with them about everything? Okay. That's very important, you know. I have to take those off. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry.
Look, I get that this is a moment between mother and son, and he's very, remorseful for whatever happened to his mother, not to the child's mother yet. But again, if you're that upset and if you're that remorseful, why haven't you told where he's at? I mean, it seems to me like even if Sarah knew, y'all could work together to get it out of her. If you didn't know and Sarah moved him at some point while you were in jail, y'all are married, you should be able to get that information out of her. I'm sorry that you have to answer for a horrific crime that you were involved in. I don't know what else to say about that, but like, it's fake to me. I'm frustrated. It might not be fake. I'm frustrated hearing this because Brandi doesn't have her son back. Like, if you really wanted to do the right thing and call mama and tell her that you're trying your best to do the right thing, why not say where the baby is? I don't believe he doesn't know.
I know, babe. I know. I know. I know you are.
Nobody's never been caught in the middle of this. It wasn't for her.
Sweetie, you have to take responsibility for your part, okay?
Yeah.
You have to be a man.
it's hard to see through this picture, but it doesn't look like he's really crying. He really does me too, Forrest.
I'm being true to my word. I promised you if you said, if you told the truth, okay? I'm right here. I'm just afraid of losing you guys. Sweetie, I'm right here. I answered the
Hannah.
phone. I answered the phone. Take a deep breath. I need you to do whatever you need to do, okay? To help. All right?
I was about to say what affairs in order, what documentation, what will, but to help, yeah, he needs to do whatever he can to help. And he needs to give Brandi her baby back.
You know, the Bible tells us if we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins. He's not going to take away the consequences, but he's going to forgive you because you know what, babe? You confessed. You confessed your part in it, but you have to be 100% honest with them.
Okay. Yeah, in order to be truly forgiven, you have to confess and be honest. Jenny said if he was really moved by his own mom, he would give another mom her loved son to her. He would give another mom her love, her son, so that she could lay him to rest. And you are 100% accurate with that statement. Boom, 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 bam. Thank you so much, Jenny. I apologize for my brain fog. I don't know how long this is supposed to last with this. I don't know what it is. It might be the flu because it's been on and off for about a week now. I apologize for my brain fog today.
Okay. 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 All right. I'm right here, buddy. Okay. You want to talk about it? What? Just anything? Feel lighter. Yeah. Yeah. That's for the best, huh?
As I'm listening to this, I think back to hey, Chow, good to see you. As I'm listening to this, I think back to the conversation that he had with Brandi, where he kept telling her that he didn't know where Michael was. I apologize. The windows are open on the house today. We're trying to let it air out, and that plane was loud, so I apologize about that. But he just straight lied to Brandi the whole fucking time, and she's crying and just pleading and begging with him to please give her son back. And all of that's a lie. You look in the eye. I mean, we knew it was, but it's just it's a complete difference. Like Jekyll and Hyde, to see him here crying to his mother, and just everything he said to Brandi was a lie. It's interesting to see the two personalities or persona play out in real life. Having seen the conversation he had with Brandi, where he was very stern about not knowing anything, and then just admitting everything. But I don't think he's admitted everything. I genuinely believe he knows where Michael is. Chow, thank you so much for gifting 5 Speculation Station memberships. That was so very sweet and supportive of you, and I really appreciate it. It's good to see you, my dear. Those memberships, I will find out who they went to. If you guys were gifted from Chow, please tell Chow thank you. Thank you so much, Chow. You are amazing.
Amazing.
And I will pick our new members up on the crazy train on the way to Speculation Station. I'm going up the Those went to CM Wilkins. CM Wilkins, welcome. Flory, Rosa Roots, Tamika, Riley, and the last 420 on the mic. I like that name. Welcome to memberships, guys. Thank you so much, Chow. I saw that quite a few of y'all were saying some stuff a minute ago. Oh, I went way too far up. Hold on. Okay. Jenny said we read that one. Ruth Ann said, I haven't been following this very closely. Have they ever said what happened? So they said that they abducted Michael while he was outside playing, and the plan was to him for, I think it was like $10,000. And so they abducted him. Sarah abducted him. There's one story that she wanted a child, and the other story is that they wanted to traffic him through Adrian. Adrian Lucifer, also known as Adrian Lucian, said that he was like involved with some people who trafficked, so they could get paid $10,000 for abducting a little boy. Sarah was sleeping with everybody in the house, saying that she wanted to have a baby. And so nobody really knows which one it is as to why Michael got abducted. They abducted him. Stacey talks about they duct taped his wrist and his feet, and he vomited, which doesn't make sense. You're not going to, I mean, it's graphic as it is. You're not going to vomit unless something really bad happened. Duct taping Michael and putting him in a duffel bag doesn't make sense as to why you vomited. So I think something really bad happened at that moment. So they duct tape him. They put him in the back of the truck. Evidently, they stop because he's yelling or screaming or whimpering. And they take him to Adrian Lucian's mother's house, and they leave him there. And the story is when they went back, he was deceased because he suffocated. Stacey said because Sarah put too much clothes on top of him in the duffel bag, and then they buried him in the backyard. That was the story that Stacey told the police in this interaction that we're watching now. They go and they dig up the backyard to try to give Brandi her child back, and he's not ever been located. This is him admitting to all of that and calling his mother. Because in order for him to admit to all that, the deal was that he would be able to call his mother. CM says, what gives them the right to hold that information from the grieving family? I don't understand. They are guilty of taking Michael, harming him, now hiding him. I pray they get the truth soon. I do too. I wish that, as bad as it sounds, I wish that there would be some kind of deal to get Michael back to his mother. I don't know. I don't want him to get any deals at all, but the fact that they've looked so long and so many places for Michael, if it would bring Michael so he could be buried in exchange for life in prison without parole, as opposed to the death penalty or something like that, it would make me happier, but I'm not in this, and the ultimate decision should be up to Brandi. Sam says he wants some kind of special deal, but doesn't want to be truthful of Michael's whereabouts. You are 100% right.
Boom, 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 bam.
I think that Brandi should be able to talk to the DA, and if Brandi says it's okay with the district attorney to give some kind of deal, then that should happen through Brandi so that she can get her son back. Wolfpack and Nona Rocks, good to see y'all. Thank you for being here. Miss Scorpio, I don't know if you heard me at the beginning of the live stream, but thank you so much for the Cash App. That was so very sweet and supportive of you, and I really appreciate it. And you gifted a membership. That is amazing.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. And that membership went to Gidget. I like that name, Gidget. If you are here and you are aware Miss Scorpio gifted you a membership, please tell Miss Scorpio thank you. Thank you so much, Miss Scorpio. And I will grab the crazy train to pick you up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. You're so amazing. I love you so much, Miss Scorpio. I appreciate you being here. It's good to see you. I believe he knows where he buried him, but I believe Sarah moved that precious baby. And that could be true, but I feel like that they could get it out of them. I want Michael to be brought home to his mother. That's what I want, but it's not my decision at the end of the day. Hannah said somewhere, I was looking for it. She said she hopes everyone's feeling better now. And thank you for that. I hope that everybody's feeling better too. I'm feeling a little better. I'm getting there.
Yeah. You've been carrying that burden for a while, haven't you?
Hey, Nona.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with it.
Oh.
Huh?
I don't want anything to do with it.
He said I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah. A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
That's some bullshit. If you didn't want to have anything to do with it, then you should have come to the police. Because let me tell you something. If somebody walks into a house where I'm at with a screaming child, I'm walking out and calling 911. And I'm going to be like, look, I just saw some shit. Y'all need to send some people. Something very fucked up is going on. And you call somebody and nope. If you, nope. Nope. You started antibiotics and steroids yesterday. Be careful, Ruth Ann. I'm sorry you have to take that, but I hope you get to feeling better. I like him too.
Honestly.
There's been many a night that I have sat at tables with some low down people that I ain't never seen no shit like that. There's no excuse. He said I think he said I didn't want to have anything to do with it. That's what it sounded like. In the beginning, he said I didn't have anything to do with it. And she said, huh? And then he said, I didn't want to have anything to do with it. But again, if you don't want to have anything to do with it, you do something. You call somebody. Hey, Cindy from sunny South Florida. Good to see you.
Promise me you guys won't leave me if I have to go to prison for all my life.
Promise me you'll always support me and buy me root beer barrels.
Sweetheart, I'm right here. I'm right here. Huh?
I feel like God's not
Sweetheart?
wanting anything to do with me.
You know, the other part of this that's just so fucking interesting to me is that the one place you turn when you admit to this horrific homicide is you turn to mama. You want mama's love, mama's comfort, mama's acceptance for what you've done and the life you're going to have now that you've admitted to what you've done. You want mama to be there. You want mama's love, mama's care, mama's acceptance, mama's attention, but you can't give Michael's mama the same thing. You can't give her son back. It pisses me off. Hey, Anders, good to see you. Hard to hear, and I could have definitely heard it wrong, but either way, fuck him. That's where I'm at. Fuck him. All the ways. Rook says, I feel bad for the families on both sides. How does a person's mind reconcile the baby you held is now a monster? That's a good point. You're absolutely right about that. And I'm glad you said that because I don't blame her for what he did, but it's irritating that he wants mama and he can't do the same thing for Michael or Brandi.
I can't speak for him. Right now, we're just like, we're still processing everything. I was hoping and praying that you were being honest with me, you know, but I knew in here, baby. I knew.
And so did Brandi.
Now I'm just gonna be labeled as predator, man.
Well,
I'm just gonna be labeled.
Okay, so that's interesting. I'm just going to be labeled as a predator because I've always wondered, not to be graphic, okay, but when he talks about duct taping Michael, and then after he duct tapes him but before he puts him in the duffel bag, he vomits. Okay, so did he admit to doing some type of predatory behavior on Michael? And is that why he vomited before he put him in the duffel bag? Because again, it doesn't make sense that you duct taped him and then you vomited before you put him in the duffel bag. That there's no reason for you to vomit. I mean, yeah, you duct taped a child. That's horrific, but that's not going to cause you to vomit. If you saw blood, if you took a life or something like that, that's typically when you vomit. Now you're going to be labeled a predator. So did you do some type of predatory behavior? Hey, OG Earthy, good to see you. I hope you're doing good. I've been sick. I hope you I was in your live stream the past couple of days though. I've been listening to you from the bushes. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Forrest said, "Well, you are a predator, Stacey, and what you did was predatory." End of story. That's the truth.
It was a predator. Everywhere I go, this evil person.
You are. Mustang, good to see you, love.
Sweetie, I love you.
What we do.
Where are you at right now?
I feel you, Andrew. Hey, Crystal.
Are you by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's up, Kim? What's your question? I'm sorry about the accident. I hope everybody's okay.
What did they say was gonna happen now?
They were just gonna go out and
They were what?
they're just gonna go out and get Michael from where I told them they were, he was.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to see you too. I'm feeling better. Thank you.
They
Good
said
to see you too.
if everything turns out what I said and matches that they were gonna fight for me.
Okay. Baby, is Michael alive?
I accidentally killed him.
How?
Suffocation. They buried him in a duffel bag.
He said, and they buried him in a duffel bag.
How was that an accident?
She didn't realize there was too much clothes on top of him.
I'm with the mom right now. How the fuck is that an accident? Hey, Carolina, good to see you. Wouldn't the cage be free range? So with chickens, I classify free range as in like they get to go out and just walk the property during the day, but they go in their coop at night to keep them safe from predators. But I've kind of wondered the same thing because free range is it's still in a cage. Like if you buy free range eggs from the store. Carolina, good to see you. Lori Ann, good to see you. I'm feeling better. Thank you for asking. I'm so glad y'all are here with us today. It's good to see y'all.
Why was she taken?
He was duct taped.
Why did she take him? Did she take him or did you?
No, I didn't take him. It was her and Adrian.
Where were you?
Sitting at home.
To have been sitting at home while they came walking in holding Michael. Oh, it said not today. Ruth Ann said, I'm home now, but I need to go to the store as soon as the mailman comes by because my Yorkie waits for him every day and my husband's taking a nap. That's so sweet.
Why was she gonna do that? Why?
I think she wanted to try to appease me with the here's a kid, like type of thing. Because we've been trying for so hard. And I looked at her and I said,
Okay. I just went way down the wrong. I hope to God I went down the wrong road. He just said she wanted to appease me with here's a kid, and he's talking about predatory behavior. But they have been trying for so long to have a child. I mean, and that's mentioned before. That's fucking weird, man.
what the heck are you doing? I said, this is not, she goes, well, I just needed to make money. And I said, this is not how you do that.
So then which one is it? She wanted to appease you by giving you a child because here's a child because we've been trying to conceive for so long, I need to make money. Here's a way to make money. It's a bad accident. Oh my God. Lord, I hope to God nobody died. Jesus, God bless them. Yeah, be careful, Kim.
Well, the goal with her was so she could make money. She was
So then why did you say that she brought him to you to appease you because here's a child because we have been trying if the whole goal was to make money? See, he's still fucking lying.
gonna split it with Adrian. And I was completely out of the loop with everything.
Oh yeah, I bet.
How come you didn't say something?
I was scared too. I was scared. I knew I told her, I said, you need to call the authorities. I said, you need to report this. This is not okay. And she goes, no, I'm not doing that.
I'm willing to bet all the money in my swear jar that he at no point said, you need to call the authorities. This is not okay. You need to make a report. At no motherfucking point in history did that conversation ever take place. Hey, Abraham. Abraham said, how do you go from here as a child to the child being unalived? Good question. Good question. Forrest said, so which is it, a child and want to sell a child? There's a big, big difference. Shaking my head. Yep. I agree,
Are
Allie.
you sure it was an accident?
It was an accidental suffocation.
How did Brandon?
Wait a minute. Okay, let me answer your question. Jenny said, didn't he also say Sarah was trying to conceive with Adrian? Yes. So the story was that he couldn't produce a child. Sarah wanted a child, so she was trying to conceive with Adrian and Brandon and him. So she was sleeping with all the men in the house. Did he say, what did he just, I didn't catch what he said this was. She's asked, I went back to where she asked, are you sure it wasn't an accident? Miss Scorpio said, I'm going to duck out and start from your first coverage of this case because I know absolutely nothing about it except that this man is whining a lot. I'll be caught up with y'all tomorrow. Okay, Miss Scorpio, I'm going to do a live about some different stuff tomorrow that like I'll start at the beginning because it's all relatively new. Thank you for coming in, Miss Scorpio, and it was good to see you, my love. I'm so glad you stopped by.
It was an accidental suffocation.
Accidental suffocation. Okay.
How did Brandon get involved?
Brandon's house was used to store Michael overnight.
I apologize. It's Brandon's mother's house that they took Michael to. Oh, God. That's scary.
Are you going to cooperate with him and testify?
I would.
Okay. You have to stick to that, buddy, okay?
Well, I'm gonna die in prison.
I mean, but you weren't thinking about that when Michael died, were you? Lorianne said you shouldn't have touched that child. Accidental suffocation. What the fuck?
Boom, 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 bop, bam.
Again, the story doesn't add up. You didn't vomit because you put him in a bag. How the hell do you accidentally suffocate someone, sir? Allegedly, he said that they put him in the duffel bag and shoved clothes on top of him. But if he's duct taped, and I think it's all a lie. And they can't tell what actually happened unless they have his body to do an autopsy. So You know, I think that's one reason they don't have the body yet. I think Stacey Wondra absolutely knows where Michael is, and he's not going to turn over Michael, because then they would be able to tell that he didn't die from accidental suffocation.
I'm gonna end up getting myself killed.
Exactly, Carolina. He has. This is playing at the preliminary hearing. It's basically a trial before the trial, and the results of the preliminary hearing is that this will go to trial. So he will see trial for the homicide of Michael Vaughan, which is a good thing, and we're very happy. And Brandi was amazing through all this.
I'm gonna be able to see you again.
You're seeing me right now.
Michael can't see his mother again either, you motherfucker.
I don't have to do a chance in prison.
Brandi doesn't even get this with her son. Good question.
Sorry if I don't get to see you again.
I agree.
You know what, sweetheart? You know what, sweetie? We're just gonna pray. God's gonna take care of you. But the main thing is you ask him for forgiveness. You've confessed your sins. You need to be honest about it. Like, seriously, confess everything, your whole part in it, no matter what that is, babe, no matter what. You understand? No matter what. You just be honest and you tell God. And he's gonna forgive you. And then, you know what? No matter what happens after that, you just read your Bible, you pray, you talk to God, and he'll be with you, baby. He will. He will. And then you don't have to fear. You don't have to fear dying. Okay? Because you know what? We can't fix what happened. We can't fix any of that. But you can be different. And even if you have to be different in jail, okay? You can be different, and you don't have to be afraid of dying. Grandpa wasn't afraid of dying.
She's doing what a mother would do. I mean, but it's still very aggravating. Cindy from sunny South Florida said, "How does that conversation even start? Hey, you wanna? Okay, let's do it. Like, get the fuck out of here. Absolutely not. You have, and you have to confess everything, like she just said." Said Anders, "What you looking for?" Lighter is here. There's two. Rose said, "Why do these monsters think they deserve any better than they did to a kid? It's so pathetic." I'm with you 100% on that.
Boom, 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 bop, bam.
Hey, little bit of Lisa, good to see you. I think I'm wondering that myself, Hannah. I'm wondering if his mom's trying to get him to confess to everything, and I think that the same thing should be done to these people that they do to the children that they hurt. Important to know God forgives you, yes, but debt owed to society does not disappear. Right, 100%. I wanted to play dumb, but I felt bad for the poor cop trying to direct traffic. Apparently, the cars ahead of me didn't know their way around. The cop walked up to my window, and I said, "Looks like you." Oh, wow. Got a mess on your hands. He said every day kind of sounded relieved when I told him I knew my way around. Damn. Yeah, he'll be forgiven by God, but not the criminal justice system. And he's not confessed to everything. If he did, we'd have Michael, I think.
And if you know Jesus and you've gotten forgiveness of your sins and he's in your heart, you'll get to see Grandpa. Okay? So no matter what, this is hard. It's going to be very hard. But you know what, baby? God has you, and he's not going to let you down. And all of the garbage that Sarah talked to you about, babe, that was not okay. Okay?
What do you mean?
Yeah, what do you mean?
Garbage. Remember when she called yelling, God said this, God said that?
Yeah.
When she got online and she started, quote, preaching, sweetheart, she's not speaking God's real truth.
No, I agree with that. I think that she got on there and on the internet and started to become this gas station lot lizard preacher because she knew what she had done and she was scared. That's what that said to me. Trains EMKY5E. Thank you so much, Chow, for being a member for 9 months. We got a YouTube baby. Okay. All right. Thank you for being a member for 9 months. Thank you for the continued support. That was super sweet and amazing of you. Thank you for sharing that milestone.
Amazing.
Okay. Hey, Daria. Good to see you. Hope everybody's doing good this Saturday. She's accepted he is getting the death penalty. She has. Curious Christine, good to see you. Little bit of Lisa said, that's right, not forgiven by criminal justice. That penalty is still owed. I can't say that enough. God does not say you don't owe society. Yep.
Boom, boom, bop, bam.
Hey, Rosie, good to see you. I just wish that I just want Brandi to have her baby.
Okay? That's not God's real truth. What Lee and Lois, Grandma, Grandpa, and me, that's the truth. That's the truth, baby. Okay?
You know, you talk about her accepting that he's going to get the death penalty. And is it because she knew he was guilty the whole time, like a lot of people did? I know we need evidence to convict, but why did it take approximately 5 years to arrest them? I mean, this happened November 11th of 2022. Okay, it's 2026, and this is the preliminary hearing to see if they're going to go to trial. If she knew this back then, like a lot of people suspected that they were the ones who did this, and he confessed freaking 3 years ago, more than that, why has it taken so long to finally make him see the inside of a courtroom? I know we need evidence, but damn, he confessed. What more do you need?
I want you to take every single thing that
Yes.
Sarah said
Richmond,
to
Idaho.
you
They do have the death penalty.
and throw it out the window. And know that the people that really love you, are here. Okay?
Daria, it's a lot. Carolina.
I'm not gonna lie to you. This is a tough one, babe.
Oh,
But I'm gonna love you. My heart is so broken. It is. It's broken, baby.
Chow said that was for Brandi's meal train. Brandi was so healthy. I was so proud of her. I will grab the link for the meal train, Chow, and drop it. We did donate to it the last time we talked about this case, and I'll drop it again if you guys want to donate to her meal train. Brandi had life-saving liver replacement surgery, I do believe it was, and she looks so healthy now. She just looks so much better. She was very, very sick for a very long time, and she still fought for Michael daily. She is the epitome of strength in my book. I'll grab her link for her meal train real quick.
I don't think I've had my heart broken like this before. But
Cigars.
I do love you. Okay? I do love you.
Love you too.
And do you realize, can't see, it takes a brave thing to tell the truth. It's a brave thing to admit you've made a mistake. Okay? Where you sent them, are they going to find him? Okay. Okay.
But they didn't, and you still haven't given him back to his mama. Here's the link for Brandy's meal train. Hopefully it comes through in one. I'll try to grab it this way. Nope. Over here. There, that link should be better. Okay. She's encouraging him to be completely honest. I like his mom. She is. She is. And I wish he would just be completely honest because I really think he's still lying. Carolina said Brandi is an inspiration. She's a real fighter for her health and fighting for justice for her son. Absolutely.
Boom, 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 bop, bam.
Southern Cat said, how is his mama so calm? I think that she's accepted that he did this a long time ago, like a lot of us had. She knew he had done this. And what do? I mean, that's your child. You're going to love them, but just try to tell them to tell the truth and to give her son back to her, you know? Southern Cat said, this woman is better than me. I don't know that I could be that calm, but I hope that I would be saying the same things. You need to be honest. You need to tell them everything. Even if you die, just be ready for it and ask forgiveness for your sins. But you got to come clean all the way. And I don't know if he ever will because he's admitted to all these things and not been held accountable until now. So is it going to be after we go to trial and he gets his sentence, whether it be the death penalty or life in prison without the possibility of parole, before he tells where Michael's actually at? Okay, the second link works perfectly. Thank you, little bit of Lisa. I appreciate it. He's only crying for himself, not that little boy. I don't even know that he's crying at all, which, yeah, I agree. Auntie Stella, sorry, it took me a second. I apologize. It's hard for me to see. He abducted a little boy and the little boy died. He says from suffocation. We don't really know how, and he has not told the location of, he confessed that the little boy was buried in his backyard. Him and 3 other people that they were living with at the time. Brandi Vaughan's son, and Brandi Vaughan still hasn't gotten her son back, but they abducted him and killed him. He says he died of accidental suffocation. They were planning on trying to traffic him, allegedly.
Did you tell my dad about this?
No, not yet. He knows a little bit.
They say Sarah's going to be charged when she's supposed to be released from prison, but I don't know either, CM. Well, no shit. You're welcome, Auntie Stella.
Baby, this is hard. I'm speechless and I'm sad and I don't know how to be, you know? I'm trying to do what God would have me to do. He gave you to me to raise. And I did the very best I could. And I don't know how to handle this one. But I'm here. People will look at you different. I'm not gonna lie. You know I don't lie to you.
I think people would look at him a lot differently, though, if he actually gave Brandi her son back.
Their actions, you're all blurry now. There you go.
There would be a little bit of forgiveness.
There are. Oh, Mom. The cat's gonna get your food. Thank you. There are actions that have
Yes.
consequences that even Mom can't buffer for you.
I agree.
These are, babe, it's hard because had you said something in the beginning, but because you held on to it for so long, it's almost like you were participated, and the fact that you knew and you let his family suffer for so long, a long time, babe.
She's 100% right.
Those are things that, it's hard.
Hannah said, if I was him, I'd make a deal. I'll give you Monkey and confess if I get life without the possibility of parole instead of the death penalty. And I wish he would do that too. I think at the end of the day, it should be up to Brandi. Not like what we saw in the Idaho 4 where he confessed or said he did it and he got life without the possibility of parole, but they wanted it to go to trial and they were pissed, the families. I think that Brandi should be the one to make the decision. And if he indeed gave the location of Michael, then he could get the possibility of life without the possibility of parole. I think that would be a fantastic idea, and I wonder if the DA would do it. No, she's not, Karen, and that's a lot different than I've seen before in cases like this. I don't think that there's a reason to lie to your child. If they're involved in some shit, you just got to be honest with them like that, Forrest said, well, he did participate. He had an opportunity to do the right thing and he never did. And not only that, he went on the phone with Brandi and just professed his innocence and made her, she's begging and pleading, please give me my son back. And he's like, I don't know where he's at. I didn't do anything. 100%, Forrest. Absolutely.
Bop, boom, 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 bop, bam.
The night you called me, you knew. You knew. And had you just come forward then, things might have been different.
Yep.
But we can't go and look at all that, baby. All we can do, look me in the eye, baby. Look at me. All we can do now is do the right thing from today. Okay? The right thing from today.
And he didn't. Auntie Stella said, I'm wondering if the reason he's not telling is because they did something to him that was worse than death or that caused his death that would make things worse for them. And I think that's 100% why they're not telling where Michael's body is, because then when they did an autopsy, they would find out that he did not die of suffocation, because I don't think he did. Again, duct taping a child and putting them in a duffel bag is horrific in itself, but I don't think it's going to make you vomit. I think that while the child was duct taped, something else happened and you put the child in the bag that was already deceased, and that's why you threw up. And if they find his body and do an autopsy, I think they'll find that out. She's trying to tell him gently, look what you did. I agree. Carolina said, exactly, Forrest. He's not concerned about Brandi's feelings. In my opinion, he would have said something by now. Yep. I mean, he wants the comfort of mama, but can't give Brandi the comfort of her son. It's infuriating, to be quite frankly honest.
Today forward, you can make good decisions, better decisions. Today forward,
I agree. All of you.
You can read your Bible. You can pray. You can talk to God. Okay? You don't have to give up. Okay? You might be in there, or you might be in prison, but you don't have to give up, and you don't have to
Really?
to give in to the temptations that are there. You can make good decisions now. Okay?
No, he's not crying anymore. Okay. Yeah, John Matthias, the fake fucking psychologist, that one. Mm-hmm.
Now on, good decisions.
Okay.
All right, baby.
Have you talked to my dad yet?
Which dad?
Not Jerry. Oh.
No, I haven't.
Of course, Rosie. They
You
did.
mean I haven't told him about this.
No, but I'm talking about the other, he said he was gonna give me money or whatever.
Oh, okay. So we get the whole reason for the phone call. There it is. Oh, he said he was going to give me money. Can you make sure? Again, these motherfuckers. All he wants is money. He just wants to make sure there's money on his books. Karen said they gave him a shot of insulin, and they did. That's the information we're going to get from Brandi herself after we go through the closing arguments. Why would they give him a shot of insulin? Yes, Rosie, he's in jail. Well, he was at court, but yes, he's in jail. Why would they give him a shot of insulin? Michael was obviously not diabetic, so that shot of insulin would have put him in a coma. And Brandi finds comfort in that, knowing that he was sedated. And as a mother, you would find comfort in knowing that he was sedated after you hear that when he was not sedated, he was screaming for his mother. Oh God bless it, I could not imagine hearing that about my child and not killing whoever said it. I would kill him. I'd stab him in the eye with a pin. She is the epitome of strength. But we did find out that he was given a shot of insulin. And did that make him throw up? I don't know. Why was he given the shot of insulin? Why did you want to sedate him? Why do you think they're going to call you a predator? All of these things go through my mind at once.
He's not at the moment. Okay? He's not going to. He's not going to.
He said he wasn't gonna help.
Yeah.
Why?
Sweetie, I'm not in his brain.
Will you give me money then? I'm waiting for it. Say it.
Love you.
I love you too, buddy. I did put $10 on your phone account. Is that phone account so that you can only call my phone number? Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
So she already did. She knew the question was coming.
I was really hoping my dad would follow through on his word because I don't have any way to make any other calls.
I know.
I was hoping my dad would follow through on his word. He doesn't want to talk to me because I committed the homicide of a little child. I mean, I'm with your dad on that one. I'm sorry. Yep. So he isn't getting the money he wanted. Now what? And that's all this was about. Stephen Stearns 2.0. Give me money. Where's the root beer barrels? Yep. Giving the child insulin that doesn't need it would homicide him. Yep. Yep. She's part of the problems, folks. You think so? I think she's babied him a lot in his life, and it did lead to him being a lazy, sloth-like piece of shit that survived off of the system most of his life. So I agree with that to an extent. I don't know how I would react to find out my child did something horrible, so I don't want to go too hard on her, but I think if she had went a little harder on him in his life, maybe he would have been a better person. I don't know. You know?
I know.
Yeah.
Just don't understand why you would go and say he's gonna do anything and just play Bob.
Sweetheart, really? Really?
Thank you.
I mean, it's not surprising. But
I mean, it might not be surprising because of who that man is as a person, as an individual, but I can't guarantee you that if I found out my child committed homicide of a little baby, a little child, a small child, that I'm going to immediately be like, let me put money on your books. I'm probably not. It's going to take me some time to deal with that. And then I'll think about giving you some money. Yep. If you're not part of the solution, you just may be part of the problem. 100%.
Babe, you need to focus on Stacey. Not calling a bunch of people anyway.
He is, Rosie. You might be behind. I don't know. Yep.
Now, are you sure? Did you leave anything out talking to them? No? You promised me you told them the truth?
yes,
All of it? When you hide some of the truth, it's like lying and not telling the truth. Did you know that? Okay.
He's a grown-ass
It's
man.
very, very, very important. Very important.
Bye, Carolina. It was good to see you too. I'm glad you came back.
Oh, we've got 1 minute left.
okay.
I love you, buddy.
Love you, Mom.
I love you too. Bye-bye.
Okay, so that was the phone call with the mother. Now we got closing arguments.
Back on the record to take up the matter of State of Idaho v. Stacey Wondra. That's in case CR 3825-1295. Did have a meeting with counsel in my office about the time we were scheduled to take up this case. After lunch, I was informed by the state that they intended to file an amended complaint, which I received a couple of minutes ago. Has the defense seen the amended complaint?
We have, Your Honor.
So again, this is for the preliminary hearing. The preliminary hearing is like a trial before the trial. So they're doing closing arguments. The results of this were that they are going to take it to trial. This is Payette
Mr.
County,
Duke, if I could have you
Idaho.
stand and raise
by the
your
way.
right hand to be sworn.
Do you solemnly swear and or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Mr. Duke, do you swear and affirm that
There have been.
you believe there's a reasonable basis
Hey, Opal.
in fact and in
Opal,
law
Opal. Good to see
to
you.
charge Mr. Wondra with these
Hey,
three
Indy.
amended- for the
to see
three
you.
charges in part 2 in this amended complaint?
I do, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any objection from the defense to the filing of the amended complaint today?
Judge, we reviewed the amended complaint with our client and discussed with him the removal of premeditation, and this is now essentially felony murder, explained that to him. And also the language in count 3, adding additional words. We have reviewed that with him, and we have no objection, and we would waive a formal reading.
And when you say you waive a formal reading, of course, it's my common practice to tell someone in very common terms what that means, but I presume you've done that. I'm happy to do it again. Sometimes we replow the same ground just to be sure it's covered well, but I have no concerns for myself on that with regard to that. I'd also typically explain to a person when I read it or when I tell them about the charges in a complaint, amended or otherwise.
I don't know if y'all can see, but his nails are like, Stacey Wondra is holding a pen. Let me move this. You see this water bottle down here in the corner in this pen. If you look at his nails, I have nails on, but like he has this bottom part of his nail is painted black. Like he took a Sharpie and like literally painted his fingernails or colored it in with the pen. He's so fucking bored. He's sitting there coloring his fucking fingernails in.
What their rights
That
are.
pisses me
Would
off.
you like me to remind your client of those things, or are you satisfied that he knows?
Judge, I don't believe that's necessary. Of course, I'll leave it in the court's discretion.
Yeah, no, I don't inherently think it's necessary. I mean, this is a carefully considered case. I said I would ask you, Mr. Rondre,
Good to see
I'm
you.
happy to read this complaint to you again if you want that. I'm also happy to go over your rights again if you want that.
I waive my rights, Your Honor.
What's that now?
I waive my rights.
Okay,
To do
correction.
that.
Well, you understand what your rights are, is really what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're satisfied that you've had enough time to speak with your counsel about that? All right, then, good enough. All right, so we've reached the time that the court's going to accept the amended complaint. It's my understanding from the conversation we had in my office that the state does not intend to call any more evidence, any more witnesses in this case. Is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor. The state does.
All right. And we discussed this in my office. It was my understanding there that the defense did not intend to make a presentation at the preliminary hearing.
That is correct.
Okay, or an evidentiary presentation. All right, then. So as far as the court's concerned, then the evidence is closed. And we've arrived at the place where we receive, I would receive closing arguments about what that evidence means from.
I want to know what the tattoo on his neck says. It's either a T or a J. Looks like SE. I've not seen that tattoo on his neck, but it could have been there and I just didn't know about it.
The parties. Is the state ready to do that?
We are, Your Honor.
And is the defense ready to do that?
We are, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Duke, what presentation would you like to make, sir?
So is this,
Your Honor, in this case, so the standard for prelim is that there must be substantial evidence on all elements of the crime. And if the court believes a public offense has occurred, and that and then there is sufficient or probable evidence or enough for probable sufficient evidence to show that the defendant has committed it, then he must be bound over. In the state of Idaho, aiders and abettors are principals in any action. And
I think this is the district attorney. It's a dumbass misspell. Okay, yeah, probably. I think this is the district attorney kind of explaining everything.
And the place I would start off is that ordinarily credibility is not really the main thrust or concern of a preliminary hearing. However,
It's the preliminary hearing. It's closing arguments of the preliminary hearing. And the results were that he did get found guilty, or he did get found. They're bonding it over so that he can have an actual trial where he'll be able, where he will either be found guilty or not guilty. So the next step is the trial after this.
The evidence must be plausible. And as the court's aware in this case, there is a bridge that has to, or a gap that has to be bridged, in the form that the confession that the state primarily relies on for its case, in that confession, Stacey Wondra indicated that the body of Michael Vaughan would be found in his backyard, and it wasn't. But the state, we still view his confession as credible, and that it does describe the actual events that occurred. But in order to bridge this problem of the body not being where he said it would be, there's a few things we would ask the court to look at. One, the body was buried, according to Stacey, on July 28th of 2021. And it was not, the backyard was not searched until November of 2022. When he was asked in November what detectives could look at to corroborate his story, as far as to verify the validity of it, he indicated the trike. The trike.
It was almost a year. It was a year and a couple of months from the time that he was buried back, that Michael Vaughan was buried in the backyard. Stacey had been in jail. I can't remember if dogs hit on the backyard or not, but the tricycle was allegedly thrown over a bluff, and then like behind the sign. They talk about that tricycle. It was a very important part of the story.
So the trike comes into play because he says it was on some boxes in the garage. I hadn't seen it there before. At one point, he says that the story of the trike came from law enforcement, not his memory. He then changes that story and says, I remember the trike being there. It was there, and then it was gone a couple days later. His neighbor, Carson Starkey, identifies the exact trike, or identifies a trike that's sitting behind the gate of the Wondra's property. Behind that gate is exactly where a live scent tracking dog showed interest when it was given the scent of Michael Vaughan in August, just after Michael had gone missing. That same tracking dog then showed interest down the bluffs in the brush there. One of the neighbors, Mr. Smith, he found the same trike identified through the exhibits, the exact same trike that Carson identified. He had found it, tried to use it for a project, and then when he realized it wasn't useful, he returned it behind the bluff sign.
This is the district attorney that's given this statement, and we got the document that went through all of this and read this on a previous live. So Sarah moved Michael when Stacey went to jail, in my opinion. Yep, that's what a lot of people think. That's what a lot of people think. Yeah, you told me that, Karen.
The reality is that a piece of evidence that initially Stacey Wondra said he didn't know anything about, he then said it would corroborate his story. A live scent track dog followed that evidence when it was given the scent of Michael Vaughan. And so there's one component that shows some veracity to his statement that Michael was indeed put in the backyard. The other piece of evidence, or the next piece of evidence, are the cadaver dogs. Yep. Cadaver dogs are trained to alert to the scent of decomposing human remains. We had on testimony before the court, at least 2 certified dogs that alerted to the presence of human remains in the backyard of the Wondra's home. And so, while not dispositive, it does show that at some point the scent of decomposing human remains was present in the Wondra's backyard.
So he was definitely there. The story is true.
And then finally, Stacey, he identifies that at one point Michael was given a green stuffed animal that they had used as a chew toy for their dogs in order to try to calm him down. evidence that came in through Anita Keller
Ironically enough, it was a green monkey.
was that Kay Ramsey, the owner of that property, or the mother of Sarah Wondra, said that the dog dug up a green ear of a chew toy, but that it got thrown away before they could collect the evidence. But all of these things go to show that Stacey's statements about the trike being in play, also this green chew toy, are corroborated by the evidence that law enforcement collected and through their investigative techniques. And there's also the reality that bodies can be moved. Every time law enforcement finds one, they move it to examine it. So this is something that this is a thing that can occur. And so.
Yeah, obviously it's a thing that can occur. Lost my train of thought. So why take this long to have the preliminary hearing? Whereas his wife, the one who supposedly brought the kid, that's a good question. Allegedly, she is in jail or in prison right now. And from what I've heard, they're waiting until she's about to get released to charge her as well. I don't know. That's what the rumor is. Yeah.
The first kind of main concern there, whether or not the fact that Michael was in the ground.
Stacey's the only one that's been charged.
The confession is still plausible and that it still meets the criteria and the evidentiary standards, because it's the theory of the state that the body was moved after it was buried, according to Stacey's own comments.
They absolutely moved him. Sarah did, and she needs to be charged accordingly. I like to watch Grizzly too a little bit.
Next, looking at the actual confession that Stacey gave, what the court heard through the last 2.5 days is what it sounds like when a man believes that somebody is, so there are 4 people in that household that are present when Michael Vaughan is kidnapped and abducted and then taken to CUNA. What the court heard was Mr. Wondra's attempt to gain the benefit of a deal by cooperating with law enforcement whilst trying to write himself out of the story. He's very thoughtful at times, and as he goes through, his story does change, but the story changes when he's given details that law enforcement have identified, point to untruths that he is telling in his confession. And so as he tries to write himself out of the story, and one of the most clear ones here,
Auntie?
as he says, they went to Ontario. The other people in the house did go to Ontario, but they came back before Michael was missing. And so and this is consistent with many of the details in his confession, that he tries to paint himself as a mere observer or spectator in the events that occurred in that home. But going through what it means to actually aid and abet, or what it means to be a principal in any case. Mere proximity is not enough. There must be the same culpable intent as the primary actors, as well as one of the descriptions uses community of purpose and the unlawful undertaking.
Is it
mere presence, acquiescence, or silent consent is insufficient? And so,
yeah, he was held on different charges, and then he was arrested upon his release for this. And people say that that's what's going on with Sarah. She was being held, and on the day of her release, she'll be charged for this too. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I wish they would go ahead and charge her.
Here, what we have is, well, looking at some of the case law here, because it's actually it's a unique legal obstacle for us to get over. Or when Stacey denies that he was actually wanting the things to happen that happened in that home and relating to Michael, it presents an interesting legal challenge. It's actually pretty clever by Mr. Wondra, frankly.
Yep.
But the case
And probably intentional.
law, so there's two cases in particular that I draw the court's attention to. One is State v. Colpitts, and in that, two individuals, Madsen and Colpitts, go to a third individual, Mr. Fignani's house, and Mr. Colpitts kills Mr. Fignani. The question becomes, was Ms. Madsen a co-conspirator, or did she aid and abet in that by accompanying him to the property and to his apartment where the murder took place? And one of the questions the court's asked is, did she know that that was the intent of the individual who committed the murder?
So the problem, the legal challenge here is that Stacey is saying, and through his own admission, has basically made it to where he's an innocent bystander. He was there, he saw everything that happened, but he's placed it as though it was never his intention to take Michael. He didn't want to have anything to do with it. And so then you have to establish that he did know, and that the intention was the homicide of Michael Vaughan, and they're having trouble doing that. This is going to be interesting.
And was she aware that that was going to happen? And they said it was properly an issue for a jury because she testified that she didn't know he had a gun and didn't know that's what he wanted to do. And the reason I point out those facts is because what the court seems to be interested in that case is whether or not there's foreknowledge that a criminal enterprise was going to take place.
Right. Did he know that something bad was going to happen? And we can say yes, because he locked the passenger side door when he was at the splash pad that day. I wonder if that's where he's about to go with this, because he got out of the vehicle to make sure the passenger side door was locked on his vehicle that he was driving when he was close to the splash pad that day. And he claims he was just looking for dip.
Whether or not she was aware that he intended or was engaging in criminality. Similarly, in, and I'm not good at the last name here, State v. Sensenig, there's an individual who meets up with a man and his stepson, and they start their enterprise together around 5 p.m, are not doing anything criminal. Around midnight, the stepson and this third party drop the father off. He engages in some burglaries.
Yep, Abraham.
And then they come pick him up about 15 to 20 minutes later. The court identified two components here that they examined, and they determined that it was an issue for the jury. But they looked at a statement he had made, or a statement that the stepson had made while the father was not in the car and when he was engaged in his burglary. He said that his father was the stealingest man in the country. And so the courts acknowledged that that might give some indicator. And then the question.
So in that particular case, by the stepson saying he's the stealingest man in the country, that would imply that when you got in the car with him, you more than likely knew that he was going to commit a burglary. Therefore, you could be held accountable. Auntie Stella, said regardless of intent, they all participated and he's dead, period. Like saying a burglar didn't intend to harm the homeowner, but killed the occupant trying to get away. Still dead, still guilty. 100%.
Boom, 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 bop, bam.
And again, if, like Abraham said, if you didn't want anything to do with it, then why not take the child back or let him go? Why put him in a duffel bag to suffocate him? You hideous walrus. He looks like a walrus. He could have saved him and took him back, but he watched this child suffer. At the end of the day, that's what it boils down to, CM. Anders said Sarah wanted a kid and Stacey took one and put him in the duffel bag where the kid died. Couldn't they tell sooner that it wasn't a good plan? Good question. We're talking about a bunch of fucking idiots over here, though, so who knows?
The question was, did this third party who was with them, were they aware when they went to pick him up that he was engaged in the act of burglary when they went to pick him up? And again, in that case, what the court seemed to be looking at is, did the aider and abetter know that they were participating in some criminal act?
I think Stacey absolutely did, and I think we can prove that.
And so moving to the facts of our case, and with that in mind, and one treatise puts it well, they say, and this is just persuasive, it's a treatise on the subject, but they said that with foreknowledge comes the opportunity to abandon the criminal enterprise or to not engage at all.
Yeah.
Meaning that you have a choice when you know beforehand what's going to happen. In this case, kidnapping is an ongoing crime, and it is not completed until the return of the victim or until the victim is dead, and so it's no longer a kidnapping at that point. In this case, Mr. Wondra's statements are very clear. Michael Vaughan was alive when he was brought into the home, and where Mr. Wondra first identifies him or first sees him. He's told, we've just taken this kid. He uses the word abduct, but he said, I think she said took, but they mean the same thing. So he accepts that what has just occurred is an abduction or a kidnapping. And then he observes while the child is duct taped, placed into a duffel bag, and stored in the living room as he claims he's arguing, or he's saying, he used the word, this is fucked up, what are we doing? And so his testimony is that he objects at this point, but he very much knows that a kidnapping has just occurred, that Sarah Wondra is one of the people who is committing that Adrian Lucini is one of the people, and that Brandon Shirtliff, that those three individuals have just kidnapped a child and have placed him in a duffel bag. Stacey Wondra knows when he gets in the truck that Michael Vaughan is in that duffel bag in the back of the truck. When he leaves the house with those two individuals, Sarah Wondra and Brandon Shirtliff, he knows that they're engaged in the act of kidnapping. And he knows.
Right. So he should be held, he should be charged accordingly. There's so many opportunities you had to duck out and go do the right thing, and you didn't. Yeah, they were trying to hide what they were doing before he died. What do you mean they didn't know what they were doing was wrong? You wouldn't have put him in a duffel bag and then put him in the back of the truck. It's nonsense. Legal jargon, but yeah. Giving him insulin wasn't diabetic. It's proof it's premeditated. You intentionally gave him that so he would go to sleep and then restrict his airway by suffocating him. I agree with you, and I think it was very calculated. Trying to prove that in court, I don't know, but hopefully they can. They feel strong enough to charge him with what they've charged him with, that they can prove what he said so far. I agree with that, and I question why it took this fucking long to do anything about it. Walrus could have stopped this at any moment. He chose to participate. He's a big and could have defended Michael. He didn't want to. Exactly.
Boom, 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 bam.
Exactly.
Knows that it's still ongoing because he describes hearing Michael scream when they stop on 8th.
Yep.
And so he knows Michael's still alive and he's still going with them. One of the statements that he made is that they were trying to establish an alibi. He comments on the use of the word alibi because he says, well, in this case, it's true, so it's not an alibi. That's not the actual legal definition of an alibi, but the meaning of the words he uses shows that he understands what it is they're trying to do, which is create a story that hides the fact that they're involved in Michael's disappearance. And he explicitly states that the alibi was to convince people they didn't know what happened to Michael, but that wasn't true. They did know what happened to Michael. That's how he phrases it. And so they established that alibi before they even leave.
He's bored.
And the testimony that came in was that Brandon Shirtliff said the reason they went to CUNA was for an alibi. And we know that that's accurate because the first statement of Stacey's that Detective Kelleher reviewed was a statement that said they left there around 5 and that they weren't in the area when Michael went missing. Well,
yeah, that was the first lie, the first story, the first alibi that he told to try to make it look like he had no part in it, which was a fucking lie. They were in the area at 5 o'clock. Ruth Ann has been a member for 16 months. Good Lord. That is a long time. Thank you so much for the membership, for sharing your membership milestone with us. And thank you so much for the continued support. 16 months. That is unbelievable. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And I like your little emojis. That is amazing. Thank you so much, Ruth Ann.
Amazing.
Super amazing. Hey, Andy, good to see you. Remember, Walrus is going to trial because he has nothing to lose. I agree with that. Auntie Stella said, I think he's irritated by having to listen to them talk about it. I do too. I think he feels like he's got better places he could be. It's frustrating.
That was determined to not be true, but that just
Right.
goes to show
Take
that
y'all
when
outside
he
with
went
me.
with them to CUNA, he was helping them establish an alibi, and he also, and the alibi was to tow a car back. He brought the
thank you, Ruth
chain,
Ann.
the tow strap. And during the course of that enterprise, when they're bringing the car back, and I believe the tow strap breaks, he's the one who fixes it so they can complete that maneuver. And the important thing here is that he said the purpose of that was so people wouldn't know they were involved with Michael. One of the elements.
I'm gonna come in through my phone, but I'm gonna keep this playing in here, and I'm gonna take y'all outside with me while I step outside for a second. I won't be able to pause it, but I'll still be here talking to y'all. Thank you. You're so sweet. Y'all are always also sweet. I love hanging out with y'all every day. I appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna play this.
Elements of kidnapping is to secretly convey a child to another place. And so he is maintaining the secret nature of the kidnapping when they establish the alibi so that it covers the actual actions that they're taking. When they stop on 8th, Stacey says he filled up the power steering fluid. Again, he is assisting and facilitating the transportation of Michael Vaughan because he's making sure that the vehicle is operating normally. And the reason that's important is because in order to take Michael away, to get him to a place where people aren't looking for him, they've got to drive, and they need a vehicle that's functioning properly. And so he makes sure that their vehicle is functioning properly in order to get Michael out of the area. He also comments that he hears him screaming and it's muffled, but he makes another statement during his confession. He says that he was just the DJ. But if you're worried about the sound that a child makes when they're duct taped in a bag, the only way to hide that, apart from remedying the situation of a child being in the bag, is to cover that sound with a louder sound. He said he was playing music. That is actually evidence that he was trying to further conceal the fact that Michael was with them in the truck. When they're stopped at 8th, in his testimony, he said that there was a discussion and they said, they got to get out of here, no more stops. And so again, there's conversations about what to do about the fact that they've got Michael Vaughan in their vehicle. And another component of someone who's aiding and abetting is if they counsel with the other principals. And several times throughout his testimony, he says Sarah would ask what to do. Now, he always responded with, got to call the cops. But then he goes with them to CUNA. And so even though he says, oh, do this thing, that's the right thing to do at this point in time, his actions do not match the words he's using. He still goes with them.
He never said call the cops. I highly doubt that.
Is allowed to infer his criminal mindset and is allowed to look at his actions, even if they're not consistent with the words that he uses. And his actions are consistent with being in a and I apologize.
We're conspiring to do it. He 100% conspired with them.
With being in the same joint enterprise as the people who are committing the other primaries, committing the actual kidnapping.
1,000%.
Next, so, and in order to be an aider and abetter, the fact inquiry is what happens before and during the commission of the crime. But in this case, we do have some details that happen after the commission of the crime that go to show what his intent was during the commission. And so he calls Brandon and he says, we're in trouble. We need to get our story straight. And they maintain their alibi that they're just transporting or towing the Mercedes.
Right.
Even though that conversation happens afterwards, we know that that's the story they had given consistently, and that is what they actually did in order to create the alibi. And so the statement he makes
So he
later
fucking knew.
shows
Hold him
that
accountable.
He was indeed trying to help create an alibi when he went with Sarah Wondra and Brandon Shirtliff to CUNA to take Michael over there.
Nobody's buying his bullshit stories. He 100% knew and conspired to do it. I believe he played more of a role than he'll ever admit
And
to.
then finally on the issue of his joining in a community of purpose with Sarah and Brandon, his mindset is part of the element of whether or not he's an aider and abetter. And again, while not just positive, the phone call he makes with his mother is very revealing. He shows a great deal of remorse. And what that indicates, that mindset at the time he was with Sarah Wondra and Brandon Shirtliff, is that he feels like he was engaged in a common scheme with them, that and so the words the courts use is community of purpose. His level of remorse is commiserate with being in a community of purpose with people who are conducting a kidnapping. Now, we know that Michael dies as a result of this kidnapping because Stacey tells us that. He also tells his mom that. He says he was accidentally suffocated. There was too much clothes on top of him. He explicitly describes watching as they put the clothes on top of Michael in the duffel bag. He observed that thing, and he watched Michael get transported and assisted in transporting Michael while he was in that condition.
They haven't said anything about the insulin yet, though, which is interesting. Because we only find out about that when Brandi talks to the news after.
The final thing I would say on the issue of whether or not he sufficiently joined in the illegal enterprise is that the language that the courts use, they say mere proximity, they talk about bystanders. In this case, this isn't a person he's recently met. These aren't people who he's accidentally fallen in with. This is his wife and his friend, whom he is asked to try to assist him in siring a child with his wife. These are people he knows well. And so when he describes them as asking,
and his wife knows too well,
what should we do with him? And he says, call the cops. We got to do something about this. The reality is that he is consulting with them. And even if nobody takes that advice, he is still consulting with them. And that makes sense because these are people he lives with. These are people he lives his life with. These are people he is engaged in business with. And so all of that is to say that Stacey Wondra is engaged in the same community of purpose as Sarah and Brandon. And that is abundantly clear by the fact that he goes with them and assists them. Finally, speaking just on the facts, we have a pretty good idea of what happens to Michael up until he's moved from the Wandra's yard. Stacey describes that he's brought into the house by Sarah. He says she's gripping him tightly. And that detail matters because if a child is trying to get away or doesn't want to be held, you would have to grip him tightly. He talks about hearing the duct tape and then seeing Michael Vaughan with duct tape on his wrists and his ankles and over his mouth. When asked if he was resisting, he said, well, yeah, he was squirming. So he describes what it would be like for a child to struggle, but there are at least two grown adults putting him in this bag. He describes how he's too big for the bag, and so they had to bend his knees, and he describes it with a tote and a boot and demonstrates it to law enforcement. He describes how Michael is taken to the truck. Now, the fact that he's put in the bed of the truck.
Yeah, you're not getting out of being held accountable for this shit. Thank you, Hannah, for explaining. I highlighted it. Hannah said this is the preliminary hearing of Stacey Wondra. He's accused of the felony homicide of Michael Monkey Vaughan, who was 5 years old when he disappeared from his home in Fruitland, Idaho on July 27th of 2021. As to this date, Michael's body hasn't been found. Please share monkeys and blue hearts and chat for Brandi, his mom, and Monkey himself. Thank you for that, Hannah. I really appreciate you doing that.
Well,
I still haven't heard about the insulin.
it makes sense when they stop on 8th Street that they don't know what to do with him, and that's where he was originally found. That's what Stacey's testimony is that he was found on 9th, but they stop right outside that neighborhood and they check to see if Michael's alive. If their intent was to try to abandon their criminal enterprise and drop Michael off, it would make sense to have him in the back of the truck where they could just drop him off and leave. But when Brandon goes to check on him, right after that discussion, or right after that happens, they have a discussion and they say, we got to get out of here, we got to go. So an argument that whether or not it's credible to put Michael in the back of the truck, I would argue that it makes sense. Granted, credibility is not an issue here. Once they convey Michael, they go to CUNA and they put him on the side of the house and they leave him there. Stacey's adamant that he's still alive at this point, but then they get into their vehicles and they leave. They tow the Mercedes. Brandon's the one driving that. They tow the Mercedes, tow strap breaks. They get back into Fruitland, and then they just start trying to blend in. The court heard evidence that they put the picture on the fridge to try to blend in with everyone else. So that
we saw the picture on the fridge behind Sarah when she was having these moments where she would preach to all of TikTok. I think at the end of the day, it boils down to they were always trying to conspire on ways to make money without getting a job and trying to do it the right way. They were always conspiring for illegal ways to make money. This was allegedly an illegal way to make money quickly, easily, and without having to do any work whatsoever for the most part. So I think that he 100% did not oppose to what happened. And the fact that he says Sarah brought me a kid is very telling for me.
Picture of Michael in the house, and he described that as an effort to blend in. After Michael goes missing, a series of actions are taken in that household.
Yep.
They get rid of 2 of the 3 cars that they're driving, both of which are implicated in having been used or involved in the kidnapping of Michael. They get rid of their phones. The testimony, I believe, that was elicited from Detective Kelleher is that Stacey destroyed one of the SIM cards, and he said, I don't want them following me.
Yep.
At the time that this occurs, they've had interviews with law enforcement. They've made statements to the effect of, we're in trouble, we need to get our alibi straight. And so he knows that he's being looked at by law enforcement when he makes the decision to break that SIM card. They get rid of their furniture.
Why get rid of the furniture again? I mean, him saying that she brought the child to him is very telling. And he had the interview with Brandi where he denies everything emphatically.
And their text messages of that day are deleted.
Yep. All of this shows knowledge that you did something wrong and that you're trying to hide it. All of it.
At the end of the day, what the court has before it is a man who felt pressured because he thought he was giving a competing confession to his wife. The statement was elicited that during a phone call, she said, I won't testify against you. And he said, I won't testify against
Oh,
you.
you're good, Crystal. Hey.
Clearly, there's concern from both of them. They would testify against one another. He wanted the benefit of a deal, but he didn't want to implicate himself. He even told the detectives when they began questioning him, and he wasn't talking about Michael very much, and they said, you're not really giving us much, or I'm paraphrasing here. And he said, well, it's like the Miranda thing. I'm going to get hemmed up. So he is letting them know
that he's more involved. If I give you more information than what I'm giving you, if I tell you the fucking truth, then I'm going to get hemmed up on worse charges than I already am facing.
Because the Miranda warning is that anything you say will be used against you.
Yep.
He's letting them know that if he tells them the story, it's
The
not
truth.
good for him legally. He understands that. And based on the story that he gives, he tries to walk that line, and he's pretty clever about it, frankly. He writes himself out of every bit of every event, every piece of evidence. He says, no, I didn't destroy things. That was them. Or at least he tries to, but he makes a few errors along the way. He does make the error when he says, trying to say that he wasn't there when Michael was abducted. He says, I remember when talking about 8th Street, and then backs up and says, I mean, Sarah told me.
Because it's still a lie. And until he tells the truth, he should be facing the fucking death penalty, in my opinion.
Over the course of that interview, when he was confronted with the fact that his story was not possible,
I'll catch you up in just a second,
what he
Abellis.
ended up with was something closer to the truth. As he told more of the story that incriminated him more details became corroborated, not less.
Yep.
And so what we're asking this court to do today is bind over Mr. Wondra for his participation in kidnapping Michael Vaughan, a 5-year-old child at the time, and also bind him over on the felony murder rule on first-degree murder because Michael Vaughan died during the commission of that felony or as a result of that felony, and also to bind him over on the destruction of evidence as the number of attempts to get rid of normal objects in their lives is staggering. To get rid of your cars, your phones, your furniture. They took every effort imaginable to try to hide from this crime. And they were very good at it, frankly, but not perfect. And we're asking the court to bind them over on the evidence that it's heard during the course of this. Thank you.
I could not agree more with this district attorney right now.
Boom, 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 bop, bam.
Happy belated birthday, Anders. Thank you, Abellis. Abellis always remembers the birthday. So, Abellis, quickly, I wanted to catch you up. Hannah dropped it in chat for us. This is the preliminary hearing of Stacey Wondra. He's accused of the felony homicide of Michael Monkey Vaughan, who was 5 years old when he disappeared from his home in Fruitland, Idaho, on July 27th of 2021. As to this date, Monkey's body hasn't been found. Please share monkeys and blue hearts in chat for Brandi, his mom, and Monkey himself. Just so you would know, it's good to see you, Abellis. I'm glad you're here today.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to hear the defense's side.
Thank you, Judge. Some of what the state talks about is accurate. And Mr. Duke talks about how we have a unique obstacle to get over in this case. It's true. There is a gap between the evidence and the charges, and they have to overcome that, and they haven't done it. He talks about at some length, there's this gap between when we think the body was buried November 28th to when we dug up the yard in November. So
the body was allegedly buried in July, sir. This is Idaho, Indy. They do have the death penalty.
We just surmise that he must have been moved. Okay, that's called guessing. Body was never found. Talks about the tricycle and what happened with the
Okay, but again, the dog and the tricycle, so...
Tricycle. Guessing.
It's not guessing. The dog's
The
hit.
cadaver dogs.
Yeah. Tell me about that.
They alert. Okay, what does that tell us? That there was a body, perhaps, in that location. Was it Michael's? We don't actually know that.
Okay, but the cadaver dog smelled some of Michael's belongings and then hit on the fucking trike in his backyard. Stop it. I'm going to get pissed off. I'm going to throw my computer out my damn window.
Does the state think it was? Does Detective Kelleher think it was? It's called guessing.
It is
We don't
not.
actually know because no body was discovered. We have no body. We have no parts of a body. Nothing. No blood. They looked repeatedly. They grabbed every stain they could find. Nothing was located. So they're guessing. Green dog toy. Well, someone who didn't testify today told someone that, yeah, we found an ear from a chew toy and it's green. Okay.
But this is the preliminary hearing. I'm sure that person will testify during trial. Can you interview someone who's just been arrested when I think about it? No, not usually. The news can sometimes get an interview in the jail, Anders, but not usually. If I had to guess, I would say the fake Dr. Jean got an interview with Stacey. He admitted to some things in that interview, and Dr. John did what he was supposed to do and turned it over to police, which is surprising when I think about it. That I would love to know if they put that interview out first or if they talked to the police first, because that would be real important for me. Defense attorneys are probably the most hated people in a courtroom besides their clients. You are 100% correct about that, Ruth Ann.
Boom, 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 bop, bam.
And I don't mean to be so hateful towards him. It's highly infuriating because he's very stupid but very smart at the same time. Kind of reminds me of somebody on YouTube who I will not mention, that has a YouTube channel. In the fact that he, in particular, not the other person, but him, he has implicated the actions of these crimes, but made sure to keep himself from being implicated in it. But the story doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You have lied and tried to keep yourself out of it. But when we run it your way, where you weren't involved and you weren't there, we know for a fact that you lied about being there. We know for a fact that you lied about the dog toy. You would not know all this information secondhand if you were not there. And we can place you there through evidence, through good detective work. Hey, Max, good to see you.
What does that tell us? Absolutely nothing. Guessing. They move on to the confession. They keep calling it a confession. It is not a confession.
Really?
Nowhere does Stacey Wondra confess.
Holy shit,
anything.
Hannah.
Prosecutor says, talks
That's
about a lot of things.
interesting.
Milt's trying to write himself out of the story. Except he's amazingly consistent about that. He never once says, I did this, or I did that, or I did the other. What he says repeatedly is what I saw others do, what Sarah told me. And so Detective Kelleher says, well, I don't believe that. Okay, she's entitled to that. But it's called guessing.
Happy belated birthday, Max.
Prosecutor
Thank you,
cited some
Bellis.
cases to you. In the first one he cited, there was actually a body. There's evidence of a crime. We don't have Michael's body in this case. We have absolutely no idea what has happened to him. Frankly, we don't even know if he's deceased. Maybe you think he is, maybe Detective Kelleher believes he is, maybe the state believes he is, but we don't actually have any evidence that he's actually deceased.
I knew they were going to go with this because there's not much else they have as far as the defense goes. But maybe if they would arrest Sarah, she would finally admit it if she knew she too was facing the death penalty.
In the second case they cite, he's hanging out with the stealingest man in the county. Okay. That's not particularly applicable to this case. Stacey isn't saying, well, my wife's the kidnappingest, murderingest woman in the state. He has no idea what she's up to, has no idea what she's about to do.
Right, but then she did it and he participated is the fucking issue. She did it and he did nothing to stop it. Stop.
To commit a crime in the state of Idaho or in any state in the United States of America, there has to be a union, right? A union between intent and an act. Mens rea, that intent, and the actus rea, the act. The state has to establish probable cause that Stacey Wondra had the intent, and then he followed up with that intent, and he acted upon it.
Okay, can we not say that Sarah said that she brought Michael to Stacey? Because he admitted that. She said that she brought him a child and then proceeded to give him Michael Monkey Vaughan. And then instead of doing anything, he helped hide the body. He helped conceal him to take him to Kuna, and then got rid of evidence. So can we not say that all of those things happened and that shows intent and that he acted upon it? The intent would be hard because Sarah's the one who did it, but she brought him to Stacey. She brought Michael Monkey Vaughan to Stacey, and he admitted that. And then he did all of the things to cover it up. He muffled Michael's voice by duct taping him. He put him in a duffel bag and put him in the back of the truck so they could get him to Kuna without being seen. He lied to police. He destroyed evidence. They got rid of all the furniture, all the vehicles or involved in it, and the phones, destroyed the SIMS card. I mean, I think that we've got more than enough here. Stacey's covering for her. We know that. And what will it take to get him to flip or her to flip on him? That's what we need to happen. Hopefully facing the death penalty with both of them will. I hope and pray to God it does.
Nowhere have they established that union of mens rea and actus rea. They have guessed at it.
No, I don't agree.
They have guessed that he's not telling everything that he knows or that he's not being entirely honest.
They have proven that he lied.
Nowhere in this case does Stacey say, I did this, or I was involved in it. He's stunned, he's shocked, he's appalled, and he doesn't know what to do. He's stuck in a nightmare that he didn't see coming, and he didn't know what to do about it.
So about the playlist, Daria, no, I haven't. That's another thing I need to work on is making playlists for all the cases that we covered. I covered the Brandi talking. I'll give you a link for a channel that has done a bunch of extensive work on this. I came into this case late as it's 5 years old. I came into it a couple months back when an interview with Brandi came out and we went over Stacey talking to Brandi. I will look up if this is a public defender. PNW Crimes does a really good job going over this case. There's a lot of places on YouTube that have been over this case extensively, and Stacey loved attention from YouTube. So there's lots of interviews with him out there. I'll grab the links and I'll find out if this is public defender or not.
That's not murder. That's not kidnapping. It's trouble, but it's not a crime. We get to this issue of duty to report. And this is sometimes hard for civilians to kind of wrap their mind around, Judge.
Oh, okay. So he was scared to report. Yes, Stacey Wondra does have a public defender, and I'll grab the link for the other YouTube channel that works with Brandi closely.
But a citizen has absolutely zero obligation to report a crime.
Oh, here it is.
Period. There are no qualifiers to that. Now, there are some mandatory reporters. Even attorneys can be mandatory reporters if we believe we've received information that someone's about to be in imminent peril or perhaps death. the ethical obligations we're under requires us to report that. There are certain mandatory reporters, doctors, for instance, counselors have to report sexual abuse, things like that. There are mandatory.
So I just dropped her link. She's covered this extensively. Definitely check her out. Right. How do you, if you committed a crime and think it's okay and not still try to fight it in defense attorney, how they do it, knowing the truth? I don't get it. It's hard. I mean, and I get that he's just trying to defend his client. He's a public defender. He has to do it. But I don't agree. I think that we can definitely show intent and follow through with Stacey.
Reporters, but regular citizens going about their business have zero duty to report a crime. And there's no criminal liability that comes up.
Several, yes, there are several.
To fail to report a crime. That's the law. Now, we can talk at great length about our moral obligation or our ethical obligation. Very subjective topics that we can debate all day long, but we're in a court of law. And in a court of law, it's not a moral obligation. We don't get charged with a crime for failing morally not to tell someone about something that we see. There's no criminal liability there. Stacey Wondra gets caught up in something and he doesn't report it and he regrets it terribly, but that is not a crime. We've talked at some length about shared criminal intent, community purpose, aiding and abetting, co-conspirators essentially, right? Stacey is not charged with aiding and abetting. He's not charged as a co-conspirator.
What do you think? I mean, because now I'm starting to question things. Would it be aiding and abetting? I'll do a poll. I'll pull up my channel and do a poll. Would it be aiding and abetting or just a moral obligation, which you can't be charged with? I think that he participated more than he'll ever admit, and I think we can prove that. So I don't think it would be an aiding and abetting charge at all. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to do a poll real quick.
Prosecutor's right. Co-conspirators are considered principals, but he's not actually charged with that. He's charged with felony murder. He's charged with kidnapping. And in the course of that kidnapping, a child dies, so that makes it felony murder.
He's charged with kidnapping. Okay.
That there was a shared criminal intent, a community of purpose. There was no such thing. And
yes, there was.
To
yes,
their
there
initial
was.
statement of this is a unique obstacle for us to get over. It's true. Because they have to figure out how to make him a co-conspirator, because he isn't. By his own words, by everything he said, he had nothing to do with this. They walked into the house with this child, and he's like, what the fuck? He had no idea. And he was appalled, and he was shocked, and he didn't know what to do about it. That does not make him an aider and abetter. That does not give him community of purpose. He had no idea. And the prosecutor stretches these things. Well, you know, he had straps in the back of his truck, so that's the perpetuation of the kidnapping. No, it's not. The child was already kidnapped, and he had nothing to do with it. They were going to tow a car. They had to stop because the brakes weren't working. He put brake fluid in the car.
I disagree. I asked do you think that he should be charged with aiding and abetting, and that would be instead of the kidnapping charge. I disagree because he admits to accomplice. Yeah, that would be good. He admits to duct taping Michael Monkey Vaughan, and then he followed through with things that intentionally hid his participation in this crime. There are many great public defenders. I just wish they weren't so overworked and underpaid. Yeah, I agree with that. I think accomplice would be good. Do you think he should be charged with aiding and abetting as opposed to an accomplice or kidnapping? I think that there's enough through his confession to prove that he was 100% involved in this. Maybe Sarah picked up the child, but she brought him directly to Stacey, and he admits to that. Why would you bring the child directly to Stacey? I remember hearing some things about he could have possibly been some kind of predator or something. And it makes more sense in my mind if he's some kind of predator that she would abduct the child and bring him directly to Stacey. Yeah, I'm with Forrest. I think he's definitely stretching it. And I get it, that's his job, but I don't think that Stacey's charged with the wrong thing. And I think he should, if he's just charged with kidnapping, maybe Sarah should be the one charged with kidnapping, but he should absolutely be charged with possibly premeditation, at least the homicide of Michael Vaughan, possibly premeditated. And he said in Texas, it's a crime not to report a homicide if you were present, specifically under the failure to report felony law. They should make that a crime everywhere. I mean, yeah, they should make that a chargeable offense everywhere, I think.
Detective Kelleher says, well, that's fixing the car so they can kidnap the child. The child was already kidnapped.
I agree, Forrest. So no to aiding and abetting. I think that's too light of a charge.
Standard jury instruction.
Personally.
For aiding and abetting in the state of Idaho. Makes it clear, absent a duty to report, which Stacey did not have, his presence during, even his acquiescence in, or even his silent consent. That also brings us to the lack of evidence in this case. And I get it, Judge. It's a bad case. It's ugly. It's hard. This is every parent's worst nightmare. We so desperately want to find Michael Vaughan. We so desperately want to know what happened to him. His mother and father, his family and friends, they are entitled to their grief and their anger and their outrage.
Look, we're not gonna play like befriend Brandi. No, I mean, I get that he's got a job to do, but no, you're about to piss me off.
Nothing I say here today takes that away from them. What I'm here to say is that that doesn't make him guilty. We so desperately want to know what happened. We so desperately want to hold someone accountable, but that doesn't mean you meet the elements of probable cause to these offenses. There are no witnesses, Judge, in this case that say, yeah, I was on 9th Street or Arizona or 8th Street or wherever, and I saw Michael Vaughan and I saw this maroon GMC pickup pull up, and then I didn't see Michael Vaughan anymore. There are no witnesses like that. None. Zero.
Forrest said he had to stop and think of the victim's name. That was shameful. It is. I understand he's a public defender and he's got a lot of cases, but you're absolutely right. In the moment for me, you had to stop and think of the victim's name while simultaneously saying that the parents deserve justice. That's what makes it fucked up to me.
No admissions or confessions or incriminating statements from Stacey. I know
Java Queen,
that
Daria.
Detective Kelleher doesn't believe him. That's not enough. That's guessing.
It's not guessing. There's
No forensics of any kind. They did all the forensics. We have 20,000 pages of discovery plus.
After it had been a significant amount of time after the crime had been committed that they went in and did forensics, from my understanding. Please correct me if I'm wrong. There's plenty of time. He had time to get rid of the vehicles. He had time to get rid of the phones, all of the everything. The
Idaho State Police were heavily involved. They went over everything with a fine-tooth comb. The FBI was involved. Every available resource was tied into this case.
Anders.
And not one piece of forensic evidence was found related to Stacey or anybody else. Cars, clean. Houses, clean.
Thank you, Abelis.
Nothing. Piece of duct tape in the back of a truck. I would encourage you to find a truck in the state of Idaho that doesn't have a piece of duct tape in it. But that piece of duct tape could have had DNA. Michael's DNA, some skin, some blood maybe, fingerprints, whatever. Nothing. No forensics of any kind. All of the state's resources, all of the federal government's resources poured into this case, and nothing indicates Stacey had anything to do with the abduction of this child.
He's not wrong, but what he did after is what implicates him. Actively trying to come up with an alibi and destroying evidence.
No physical evidence. This is incredibly important to the case, and we haven't really talked about it a lot. But there's always physical evidence, right?
After a significant period of time, though,
the perpetrator to the crime.
It was destroyed. He destroyed the phone.
Would be, an easy example would be the shirt that we knew he was wearing, found in the trunk of Stacey's car.
He thought that Michael was still in the backyard where Sarah put him, Sarah and Adrian, if I remember correctly, digging the hole. And we've heard all of them talk about this. Even Brandon, I think, admitted to seeing Sarah dig a hole. Stacey is the one who's going to be able to tell where Michael's body actually is.
Or in the backyard of his house where he's living. Or in the crawl space under his house. A shoe that was known to be Michael's found in the truck. Simple, basic thing. Evidence that connects
5 years later
to a crime. There is nothing of the sort. The state comes to the court today and says, we think we know what happened. We think the child was kidnapped, and we think Stacey had something to do with it. And we think he was held in the house, and he was in a car, and he was taken to Brandon's mom's house, and he was buried in the backyard. All of those things are guesses.
No, that's what your client fucking admitted to.
And we can't bind over a case, first-degree murder, or any charge, frankly, on a guess. I would submit to the court that you can't take a 5-year-old boy. I'm sorry.
An affidavit sworn to under oath is not guessing.
I just find that incredibly unbelievable that you're going to take a wriggling, kicking, screaming 5-year-old, stuff him in a duffel bag. You're going to kick his way out. He's going to thrash his way out. People are going to hear. People are going to see. I just don't find that believable. But even if you find it believable, there would be evidence.
He wasn't kicking and thrashing because they had duct taped him.
There would be evidence of his skin, of his blood, of his. I'm not a CSA. The epithelials, whatever the material from your skin. They would be on the couch. They would be on the carpet.
You mean the couch that they sold? You mean the carpet that had been cleaned? You mean the vehicles that they sold? The cell phones that they destroyed? That stuff? Okay.
It would be everywhere he was. He was supposedly in the back of a truck in a duffel bag. Canines don't alert on that truck. That's not believable. No evidence, no forensic evidence found in the yard, in
You're leaving out the part though that it had been a significant period of time before all of this was done, and the dogs did hit on the backyard.
Brandon's mother's yard and Brandon's mother's house. It surpasses reason to think that a little boy was kidnapped and died and buried, and they didn't find anything. And I hate that as much as anybody. But that doesn't mean that a crime has been committed by Stacey Wondra. There has to be that nexus between the intent and the act, and there has to be that evidence that connects those things, and there just simply isn't. You may not like it, may not believe it, but at the end of the day, what Detective Kelleher thinks, what the state thinks, it doesn't matter. It's what they can prove. And they haven't proven anything. and it's not a trial, it doesn't have to be beyond a reasonable doubt. Is it more likely than not that Stacey Wondra kidnapped that child and he died in the perpetration of that kidnapping?
Yes, it is more probable than not that Stacey Wondra was involved in the homicide of Michael Monkey Vaughan. Yeah, it's leaving out everything that's inconvenient for him, Forrest, which is disgusting. Exactly, and it's pissing me off. He is gross to me too. I agree, Abellis. Anders said, yeah, PCA isn't supposed to be treated like a joke. Again, 100%. Yep.
No, they have not submitted evidence that even establishes probable cause. A common theme, Judge, throughout this case is
a sworn affidavit under oath, a sworn confession under oath is not nothing.
Detective Kelleher hits him hard on this in the interviews. His mom, who they used to get information out of him, she hits him hard. What did you do? Why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you call? You must be accountable for your part, Mom says. You must be a man, Mom says. You made a mistake, Mom says. What that's referring to is his cowardice. This is why he's crying. This is why he's remorseful. This is why he's upset. Because something horrific happened, and he didn't stop it. He was a coward. That also has no criminal liability attached to it being a coward.
Okay, but the issue in this moment for me is that you're calling him a coward and saying, yes, he is a coward. He was in that moment, he was very upset because he was a coward because something horrible happened and he didn't stop it. But in the same breath, you're saying there's no physical evidence, there's nothing that we can say definitively proves a crime was committed. But at the same time, he's feeling guilty because a crime happened and he didn't stop it because he's a coward. Like, you're talking in circle. This is word salad and bullshit. Bullshit. I call bullshit.
What? A bullshit? A bullshit? A bullshit. A bullshit.
Now you're making contradictory statements. Yeah, like Jennifer Soto.
Coward is not a crime. Judge, even if you believe everything that Stacey Wondra said, and I don't think we can believe any of it, changes his story constantly, lies constantly. Much of what he says just simply isn't believable, and all of his story that is put together about what he saw and where Michael Vaughan was and what happened, none of that is corroborated by evidence. If any of it, even a bit of it, was corroborated with any evidence, game on.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been. Nothing. Even if you believe everything he says.
Me too.
He still didn't commit a crime. This is not guessing court. This is not hopeful court. This is not, we have a pretty good idea of court. This is a court.
We have a sworn confession under oath. Yeah, I agree.
Law. And a court of law requires evidence to prove a crime. And they haven't done that. And I know it's hard. But they have to prove it, and they haven't. And you cannot bind it over to district court. I would concede there is probable cause, there is evidence for count 3, destruction of evidence related to.
Okay, yeah. My question here, if you're going to concede and say that there is enough to charge him with count 3, which is destruction of evidence of what? Evidence of what, though? What crime? What is it? What the stuff that he destroyed is evidence, but evidence of what? The crime he fucking committed, therefore bind it over.
SIM card, other things. I concede that. That's the only crime.
He could
They
have.
established probable cause to proceed.
And with that, Abellis gifted 20 memberships. Thank you so much for gifting 20 memberships, Abellis. That was so very sweet and supportive of you, and I really appreciate that. Thank you, my love. You're so sweet and amazing. I really appreciate that. Let me see. Okay, those memberships went to Daria, yay, Opal, Hopeful, Opal. That's awesome. 2 people in chat. Starfire, Michelle Gillum. Start with your feet. No, start with your feet. I'm not going to try to read all of these. Melancholy Girl, Soul Child. Soul Child is in here sometimes. Just Emmy. I'm losing my voice. The Wackadoodles, Emmy Joe. John Fashosho. Triple Lauren. Caralia. Trinity Red or Blue Pill. On Dora the Crafty. I was trying to read everybody. Vanessa, Mary Ann, Melancholy Girl. And Michelle Gillum. I apologize if I read some of your names twice. I was trying to be nice and read everybody's names, but I messed it up there a little bit. Anyways, if you guys were gifted from Abellis, please tell Abellis thank you if you are aware you were gifted. Thank you so much, Abellis. That was so very sweet, supportive, and amazing of you. I'm going to get you an amazing from Basil.
Amazing.
And I'm going to grab our new members up on the crazy train on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you again, Abellis. That was so very sweet of you. Thank you so much, Abellis. You are so sweet, and that was so awesome.
Thank you, Abellis.
You come in here to get a coat. Mr. Speculating said thank you, too.
All right, thank you. I'm going to
thank you so
take
much,
this
Abellis.
under advisement for a few minutes and come back on. And
Said
announce
you're welcome.
decision. It's my intention to do that this afternoon.
It is getting chilly, but I'm glad that we left the doors and windows open.
Sure.
Go ahead and be seated.
I know. I want to make something sweet, too. I might make a cake.
So we are back on the record again to take up the matter of State of Idaho v. Stacey Wondra in CR 38251295.
Shut the door, babe.
Time has come to render a decision in this case, or announce a decision that the court intends to do. Is the state ready?
We get to see the decision.
The defense?
Oh.
Before
Hopeful, thank you so much for the super chat. That was so very sweet and amazing of you. I'm going to get you an amazing from Basil.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. Hopeful says thank you again for covering Michael's case. Of course, I always would. I wish I had been covering it from the beginning. Thank you so much for the support, and I really, really appreciate it. And I hope that I can continue to cover it and continue to follow it through trial. Thank you so much, Hopeful. I really, really appreciate it. I wish that I could do more to help. I really do. Brandi deserves her son. I wish I could give her that.
Before I do, this is an unusual proceeding. Preliminary hearings don't normally consume this amount of time and resources. I appreciate the decorum and the dignity shown by everyone that came and was here for much of the trial. Certainly the professionalism of the marshals in maintaining a good order and the preparation and skill of counsel in making the presentation of this case. Mr. Wondra faces in this matter for preliminary hearing today 3 counts, 3 alleged violations of law: murder in the first degree, kidnapping in the second degree, and destruction or alteration or concealment of evidence about to be discovered in the investigation of the commission of a felony crime. The question before us is not the question that's asked at the end of a trial. And at a preliminary hearing, there are specific questions being asked. The evidence must meet or must answer those questions in order for a case to proceed to trial at all. The first of those questions under Criminal Rule 5.1 is whether or not a public offense has been committed. And then thereafter, is there probable or sufficient cause to believe that the defendant committed those offenses?
I mean, his confession seals the deal with all of that.
In order to make that finding, a judge must find that the probable cause has been presented, and it must be based on substantial evidence on every material element of the offense charged, or in this case, the offenses charged. The evidence presented in this case supports the conclusion that Michael Vaughan was abducted, he was secreted away, and he was killed in the course of being secreted away. The evidence goes on to show that subsequent to and during those events, evidence of the crimes was destroyed, altered, or concealed.
I agree with that.
In making findings of probable cause in this case, or in any case, the court relies primarily on the criminal code, the statutes by which a person is alleged to have committed a crime. The court also relies heavily on the jury instructions that the Supreme Court has promulgated for making decisions about any particular charge. A particular utility in this case is Idaho Criminal Jury Instruction 311 and 312. 311 says that the law makes no distinction between a person who directly participates in the acts constituting a crime and a person who either before or during its commission intentionally aids, assists, facilitates, promotes, encourages, counsels, solicits, invites, helps, or hires another to commit a crime with the intent to promote or assist in its commission.
I think we can prove beyond a reasonable doubt that that did happen here.
Both can be found guilty of the crime. Mere presence at, acquiescence in, or silent consent to the planning or commission of a crime is not, in the absence of a duty to act, sufficient to make one a principal. An accomplice is what it says, but we're talking about principal liability for criminal acts. Idaho Criminal Jury Instruction 312 says that all persons who participate in a crime, either before or during its commission, by intentionally aiding, abetting, advising, hiring, counseling, procuring another to commit the crime with intent to promote or assist in its commission, are guilty of the crime. All such participants are considered principals in the commission of the crime. The participant.
I think he was a principal element in the commission of this crime, 100%, and we can prove that beyond a reasonable doubt. Absolutely.
Participation of each defendant in the crime must be proved beyond a reasonable doubt. And that last piece is just for the jury. And here, that's not the standard, right? The standard is whether or not probable cause has been demonstrated. Here, Mr. Vaughan is charged, or Mr. Wondra, I apologize. Mr. Wondra is charged as a principal. And the court considers the evidence in this case through that lens. When I make any decision, I base that decision on the evidence that's presented. I certainly never make a decision based on hopes or guesses, based on the underlying subject matter of a case.
So he's kind of jumping back at the defense right now. He doesn't make any kind of decision based on guesses, but this is not guesses, in my opinion. I think during the prelim, they only need to find whether there's evidence to move forward with a trial, not beyond a reasonable doubt. I think you are correct in that, and I think they have done that. Because obviously the trial is going to be to determine whether he is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I think they have provided sufficient evidence to move forward in this case. And again, I get pissed off. I get upset because this should have happened years ago.
No matter how tragic or innocuous, that is not part of a decision that a court uses, and certainly that I use when reaching some conclusion or decision.
And it's really important to me that he states that Sarah brought Michael to him. Sarah brought Michael and gave Michael to me. Why? That's really important for me, because that she's doing it for him. I don't think she ever did it for herself. I think she always did it for him. Lori said it will go to trial. It'll bring her, it'll never bring her son home. Justice is good, but it sucks for the lost no matter what. I agree. I hope that Sarah, when she gets charged, will admit to where Monkey is. I hope to God. I mean, it's Brandy's decision, but I hope there's some way that if they produce Michael, they can spend the rest of their life in prison or something and not look at the death penalty, and she can finally lay him to rest and visit him and have a place to remember him. I really do. But at the end of the day, that's not my decision. That's Brandy's decision. I'm hugging him as I watch. He came to lay next to me. Oh, Rocco, he's such a sweetheart. Indy said duties of a defense based upon the Constitution include investigating the case, challenging evidence, and ensuring a fair trial under the law, not to get them off. 100%.
Boom, 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 bam.
They aren't escaping this, in my opinion. So they may as well tell where they put the body. I hope they do. I hope they give her that. God, please let them give her that.
This court finds that substantial evidence has been presented as follows. That on or about July 27 of 2021, in Fayette County, state of Idaho, Stacey Wondra seized, confined, unveiled, or kidnapped Michael Vaughan with the intent to cause him, without authority of law, to be secretly confined or imprisoned within the state or detained against his will, or that
He
Stacey
didn't have
Wondra
much of a reaction.
took, enticed away, or detained.
He didn't have much of a reaction when they said that they found that there's enough evidence to prove that he did these things. He didn't have much of a reaction, but I don't know if it's hit him yet that they're going to go ahead and go to trial.
Michael Vaughan, a child under the age of 16, with the intent to keep or conceal the child from his custodial parents in violation of Idaho Code 18, 4501 and 4503. That in the perpetration or attempted perpetration of the felony crime of kidnapping on or about July 27 of 2021 in the state of Idaho, the defendant engaged in conduct that caused the death of Michael Vaughan, unlawfully killing him without justification and with malice by taking intentional acts, the natural consequence of which were dangerous to human life and deliberately performed with knowledge of the danger and with conscious disregard for human life, constituting murder.
Absolutely.
And that such murder was committed in the perpetration or attempted perpetration of a kidnapping in violation of Idaho Code 184001, 4002, and 4.
The fact that this crime was committed in furtherance of a felony crime also holds weight as well.
4003. That on or between July 27 of 2021 and May 21st of 2025, in Fayette County, state of Idaho, Stacey Wondra willfully destroyed, altered, or concealed evidence concerning the kidnapping and murder of Michael Vaughan, including but not limited to biological material, physical evidence, and digital information, knowing that these things were about to be produced, used, or discovered as evidence in a felony investigation, and with the intent to prevent that evidence from being produced, used, or discovered. These findings are made more than anything else on Mr. Wondra's statements to investigators.
Yeah, exactly. He admitted to doing this fucking crime.
He described the abduction of Michael Vaughan under circumstances corroborated by other witnesses. He described the binding of Michael Vaughan together with him being secreted away to Cuna.
You forgot the part where he threw up, because again, that's really important for me personally. You don't just throw up by duct taping a child and putting him in a duffel bag. I don't think. Pretty positive you wouldn't. Something else happened in between those two things that made him vomit.
And his role in assisting that effort. That too is corroborated by physical circumstances confirmed by the investigators in this matter. He described the manner of death and the subsequent disposal of the body, with some of those details also corroborated by the results of the investigation.
Yep.
Finally, he described his role in destroying and disposing and concealing many pieces of evidence that were about to be discovered during the investigation that was being conducted. The question before this court is not whether or not Mr. Wondra is guilty of these three charged offenses beyond a reasonable doubt. That is not the purpose of a preliminary hearing. That ultimately will be a question for a jury after a full trial. But I do find that the evidence demonstrates that the public offenses charged have been committed and that there is probable or sufficient cause that the defendant committed them. And so I will bind
Thank
Mr.
God.
Wondra over to district court to answer for the charges of kidnapping in the second degree, murder in the first degree, and destruction or alteration or concealment of evidence. And clerk, I think we have it.
Did he really just shake his fucking head? I want to choke him. I want to choke the shit out of him right now. He really just shook his head like, yep, okay. So I'll go to trial. Okay. Just another day. Oh, I want to choke him.
So what's proposed is that Judge McCarthy would preside over this case, and we would set an arraignment in front of him. I have half a dozen dates here, the first of which is April 1, 2026 at 3:30.
April 1st, 2026 at 3:30.
Judge, the defense cannot do that.
What about April 8th at 2 p.m.?
Sorry, that would be negative.
What about and I have some dates in between. I'm just trying to skip ahead. I don't know how tight your calendar is. What about the 14th of April at 10 a.m.?
I can make that work.
Well,
Let me not. I don't think that it's starting the trial. Let me not. I don't want to give misinformation. Hold on. Let me see what they're trying to schedule.
of kidnapping in the second degree, murder in the
Oh, I
first
gotta see
degree,
him shake his head
and
again.
destruction or alteration or concealment of evidence.
Look, watch it. Okay.
I think we have a date for that.
Smack the shit out of him.
So what's proposed is that Judge McCarthy would preside over this case, and we would set an arraignment in front of him.
Arraignment. An arraignment. They're setting an arraignment. Okay. Let's see when the arraignment will be.
What about the, and I have some dates in between. I'm just trying to skip ahead. I don't know how tight your calendar is. What about the 14th of April at 10 a.m.?
Yeah. I want him to be looking at the death penalty.
Well, would the
April
15th of April at 10 a.m. be better?
It sure would. Thank you.
Does that work for the state?
It works for the state.
All right.
April
Anything further that
15th,
the
10
state
a.m.
should be presented today?
Arraignment for trial.
No, Your Honor.
April 15th. Anything further that
Yes,
defense wishes to present
arraignment,
today?
not trial.
All right. Thank you. We'll be in recess.
So yeah, the arraignment is going to be April 15th at 10 a.m. I hope that he gets the fucking death penalty. And so that way they can say, look, we'll give you life without the possibility of parole if you tell us where Michael is. And that would be ultimately Brandi's decision. I would not want it to end up like Idaho 4.
Preliminary hearings.
The parents didn't have a choice in that, and they were very highly upset about the parents were very highly, hold on a minute, let me stop. Trying to do too many things at once. It would, I want the decision to ultimately be up to Brandi, whether they, like, if he got the death penalty or something like that, if they could approach him with the possibility of life without the possibility of parole in exchange for Michael's body. And again, I would really want that decision to be left up to Brandi. I'm looking for the interview of Brandi that I saw the other day. I think it was before that. I think it's this one. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Hold on a minute, y'all. Oh, of course, now I'm not going to be able to find it. We're going to go back to my playlist. Let me pull this up again now that I'm... Yeah, I think it's this one.
For Stacey.
So this is going to be, I think it's after court.
Wondra, the man charged in the disappearance and killing of young Fruitland boy Michael Vaughan. Neighborhood reporter Riley Shoemaker joins us live from the courthouse.
Yeah, Donna, a little over an hour ago, they wrapped up testimony, but it was a long day of testimony in the case against Stacey Wondra, the man charged with kidnapping and killing Fruitland boy Michael Vaughan in 2021. Now, we're still here at the Fayette County Courthouse, where Michael's parents took the stand while facing their son's accused killer face to face.
They're arrogant and they're dumb criminals. And they think...
Look at her. Look at how healthy she looks. I'm so proud of her. I don't think this is the one I'm looking for, but this one's important too. She looks so healthy and so good now. You know, she had liver issues and she had to get a liver transplant, which saved her life. And it's a big difference to see her from when we were covering her a few months ago, talking and stuff where it had just happened and her body was trying to get used to the new liver, as opposed to now. She keeps her hair blue in remembrance of her son, Michael.
Think that they're going to get away with this, and they're not.
Brandi Vaughan, mother of 5-year-old missing Fruitland boy Michael Monkey Vaughan, finally takes the stand almost 5 years after her son was last seen alive. She and her husband Tyler were the first two witnesses called in Stacey Wondra's preliminary hearing that could take the rest of the week, laying out the timeline for that July evening when Michael went missing. As we reported, Tyler was the one who called 911 on that July night after a frantic call to his wife.
And it's been a long time, but I can still feel it. I can still hear it. I can smell it that night, that day.
That's one thing that you will always remember from a traumatic event like that. You will remember what it felt like outside. If it was in a room, like, you know, what was hanging on the walls, what it smelled like, what it looked like, where the sun was, all of those little details you don't think in that moment you take in, but you really do. And it's hard. And I couldn't imagine losing a child. I've never experienced anything like that, and I wish nobody ever had to. I believe her 100% in that. I believe everything she says. She's such a strong person, beautiful soul.
I wasn't even really looking at time.
During cross-examination, the defense questioned Tyler's use of marijuana while he was home with the kids.
During this period of time, during the day, were you smoking marijuana? Yes.
Tyler testified he did smoke a joint between the time he saw Michael alive around 6:15 and when he noticed he was gone around 7 p.m. But Brandi said she never had concerns about his smoking and said it was always kept hidden away and out of reach. In court, we also heard from 3 professional canine handlers who were called to assist in the investigation. One led detectives to Stacey Wondra's home while following a scent from Michael Vaughan's shoe. 2 others were called to the scene in 2022 when the backyard was excavated, giving positive
Wait a minute.
alerts to the scent of human remains.
See, I mean, that right there, they searched in 2022 and the dogs alerted positive to scents of human remains. That should be enough to corroborate the confession that he gave in court. Hio, it's good to see you. And she had told me yesterday, and I did make a post to tell you guys that she loves you and she misses you and she wanted to send hugs and kisses to all of you. Thank you. It's good to see you, Hio. He looks like Mr. Penguin and the Blob mashed together. He really does. I did find the other interview where she talks about the insulin. So we'll finish watching this one and then I'll go to the other interview.
He very much pulled me to that property. Residual scent, the dog will alert on residual scent. And that's what I believe is happening on that day.
We also heard from an officer who worked at the jail where Stacey served time on unrelated charges and found a letter in Stacey's belongings addressed to the Vaughan family and signed by Stacey. The contents of the letter were not shared in court.
I feel
Now,
like
the
they
court
should have been.
has scheduled off the rest of the week for this preliminary hearing, but the state is expected to call one of their key witnesses tomorrow. It's going to start out right at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we are going to have live updates throughout the day.
So that was while the preliminary hearing was still going on. We just saw the closing arguments for all of that. And we heard the interview with his, or the phone call that took place after he confessed with his mother. This is after trial when Brandi knows that, from my understanding, this is when Brandi knows that he is going to go to trial. So this is Brandi, Michael's mom, and Tyler, I do believe is his name, and that's Michael's dad.
Think about closing statements today from the prosecution and from the defense.
She looks so
The
good.
prosecution stand by everything he stated and what he said. I don't know very much about the laws, so I'm glad that that's being explained to us as the process is happening. I'm just glad we're going forward in the right direction, and pray that one of them, or maybe even Stacey, has the heart to tell us where Michael is.
Today was emotional. I know for you guys, like listening to the testimony from the detective and watching the videos again. What stands out to you that maybe you didn't know before?
That Michael was given a shot of insulin.
I didn't hear that, and I know she heard it or she wouldn't say it. That I found that really interesting. So the reporter asked her what stood out to you, and she says that Michael was given a shot of insulin. It's interesting that neither the defense nor the prosecution, or the defense or the prosecution brought that up in closing arguments, because that would have killed him. Yeah, there was a train going by. There's been a couple of cases where we've heard trains going by. Yeah, Jack and Lily too. Absolutely. Oh yeah, I hope you're doing okay, sweetheart. I'm gonna call you later on this evening.
Michael's not diabetic, so it would have put him to sleep. So he didn't have to suffer. And that to me is premeditation. So
I agree.
To hear what they did to you.
it was hard to hear that he was screaming for me. It was hard to hear that that woman told my baby that I didn't love him anymore.
I'd never heard that either, and I apologize if that's been stated. As I've said, that I came in late to this case. God, that I can't. I don't even know what to say right now. There's a special place in hell for them. What it's titled, there's special places for people. That's all I can say. Jesus. Why?
There's special places for people like that. And I believe that's where they're going to go. Justice will be served.
What were your feelings watching Stacey have a conversation with his?
Could you, y'all? I don't. I've always said that she's the epitome of strength, but you tell me my child's screaming for me. You told him that I didn't love him anymore. If after you committed, I would not have been able to contain myself. I would have stabbed that motherfucker with a pen. I mean, you don't think of a pen as a deadly object, but in the right hands, anything can be. Nope. Nope.
Seeking out, comfort.
I admire that woman for her grace and her kindness and for raising him and trying to do right by him. My heart breaks.
So right now she's talking about Stacey's mom. She admires her for trying to do the right thing and have him do the right thing and for everything she's going through. And that's just shows you how strong Brandi is. And she's about to say my heart breaks for her. For Stacey's mother, trying to have him do the right thing. Yeah, Daria, I've wondered that myself. I think I know where you're going. Yeah. I hope not.
Grace for her, because I know how my mom heart hurts so much. I can't imagine what she's feeling right now. But I respect her and admire her for telling him that he needed to do the right thing. And I think her supporting him helped that a lot. And I am very grateful to her for that.
And one of the voices that we heard in a lot of the videos yesterday was Detective Kelleher. What has your relationship with investigators been up to this point? And seeing all that video, I'm sure was a mix of emotions.
It explains a lot of trust us, just trust us, and giving them that blind trust has been reassured of what they have been doing and their love for Michael and their love for their jobs to do the right thing. So
she's talking about the detectives or investigators right now, them telling her to just trust us. And it would, I mean, everybody's asking why it took so long after he admitted to the shit in 2022. I can't imagine how hard it was for her to just hear, you've just got to trust us. You've just got to trust us. And I'm glad that she feels reassured in the fact that this preliminary hearing happened and that it's going to trial. And I'm grateful for that for her as well. I couldn't imagine being told
The other
that.
three come up so frequently and knowing they haven't been charged. What are your feelings on that?
We're a small community. We're a small town. There are lots of moving parts to Michael's case. And those 4 names have always come up together. It doesn't surprise me hearing those names. And I believe that all 4 of them are going to be punished to the extent of the law. Hopefully one of them will grow a slight bit of consciousness and tell us where Michael is. That's all we want is Michael home. They've done their wrong. Now it's time to pay for it. They've done their damage. Give us back Michael Joe. Give us back Monkey. That's all we've asked for is from day one. And they said that all this time. I have no empathy for any of them.
And I wish they would give her baby back too. She really is. Really, Lori, I didn't know that. It was wrong of me to sum up. Oh my goodness, content.
They deserve what's coming to them.
Do you plan to come to future court proceedings?
Every single one I can possibly make, health permitting.
And Brandi, you, as we talked about yesterday, have had just both of you guys such grace and restraint through this process. I mean, how do you do it?
Each other. And we got an amazing community. Our family is rock solid. The foundation of our family is what keeps us going. And I made a promise to Monkey that I was never going to stop till I find him. It looks different now than when we started. But I still had that promise to keep. So, yeah. Thank you.
Do you guys feel closer to something?
Yes.
And you had Kira or Pitch.
I don't know what to say. I'm glad she feels closer to justification and getting answers finally. Yeah, God bless both of them. God bless both of them.
Pidge, yeah.
When it comes to your other children, Michael's siblings, how are they doing?
They're all dealing it with their own ways. I was very proud of Pidge wanting to be here. And, she's a part of this as much as well. And she's a young adult now. So Mama can't tell her no anymore. But I did, continuously make sure before the day, how are you feeling about this? How is your mental health? Are you sure that you want to do this? Because it is a lot of emotions. And of course, with all of the kids, we've tried to be completely honest and open with everything in the case. Age appropriate, of course, as it has been almost 5 years. And Buggy, Monkey's baby sister, I mean, she turned 2, not even quite a month after Monkey was abducted. And she still asks if he's not alive anymore. And we have to go through that. So, yeah, it's really hard. They're doing well. And anytime they have a question, I'll answer it as best as I can. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
My goodness. I'm so happy for her. This is finally going to trial, and I hope to God that they admit what they did to him, and give her her baby. Lord of mercy. God bless Brandi. Oof. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go. My geese are hollering for me to go feed them. It was raining this morning. I usually have fed them by now. And they've been hollering the whole live stream because they're like, "Where's my food?" I didn't want to feed them because it would get wet in the rain. Thank you, content. I wish I could hug Brandi. So I had talked about coming live twice today, and I can still try to. I've got most of the documents that I need, but I need to look up the Aaron Spencer case because Aaron Spencer is awaiting trial for homicide. The homicide he committed is there was a predator who groomed his daughter, and his daughter ran away and was with this predator. From my understanding, I only read it once. And then he turned the predator in. The predator went to jail and walked out the same night or relatively shortly after, and his daughter ran away again. And lo and behold, she was with the predator. So Aaron Spencer shot the predator at that point, and he is awaiting trial for murder. Well, interestingly enough, he was just elected sheriff here in Arkansas. It's about 2 hours away from me. So I need to do some more research into that, and I want to talk to you guys about it. I'd like to go to the trial if I can, but I don't want to talk about those things in this live. So I'm going to do another live stream. It will either be tonight or tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. If I don't come back tonight, it will be in the morning. Yeah, it was good to see you, Forrest. Yeah, we have been going for about 3 hours today, so I don't know if I'll be back today or not. I've still got to cook dinner and do some things around the house. If I can, I will. If not, then I will see you guys tomorrow. I want to do one more thing before we go. Hold on just a minute. They're hollering right now. They're like, "Where's my food?" Okay, I think we're almost there. I'm trying to get a post to share with you guys that I shared a while back. Okay. From 3 months ago, I'm going to grab, this is Brandi's meal train. We shared it about 3 months ago, and we donated to it. If you guys want to donate to help her through her medical journey, I'll pull it up and show it to you guys. That is the link if you guys want to donate. It's the meal train for Brandi Vaughan's medical journey, and it reads, "There's her and her other children. Brandi Vaughan recently underwent a life-saving liver transplant, and while her surgery was a success, the road to full recovery will take time, rest, and support from the people who care about her most. As many of you know, Brandi is one of the kindest and most giving people, always the first to offer help, encouragement, or a listening ear. Now it's our turn to show up for her and help ease her journey. She'll be focusing on healing and regaining her strength in the weeks ahead. Because recovery always has limits and takes time, we're organizing this meal train to help her days a little easier. Your support through a meal delivery, gift card, or kind message will go a long way in easing the stress for Brandi and her family as she continues to heal. Thank you for your generosity, compassion, and love during this chapter. Every small act truly makes a difference. And I dropped the link. You guys can also, if you can't donate monetarily, don't feel bad or anything like that. Just sharing the link out for her will help tremendously. And I appreciate all of you and everything that you do. And thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I love you too, Karen. And I will see y'all tomorrow. I'm going to play my little intro, outro thing. And then, yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thank you for the support. I really, really appreciate it. And I hope to see all of y'all back here tomorrow for sure. Possibly later today, but definitely tomorrow. Please keep Brandi in your thoughts and prayers as well, and her family. All right. Bye, y'all. Thank you. Love you. If nobody's told you, you are enough. You are important. You are special, and you are very loved. And I'll see y'all tomorrow for sure. Bye.
First, then we speak. From breaking buzz to a cold 5 deep. We think we keep proceed. Yeah. Welcome to our allegedly special.